We present Ian Carmichael as Lord Peter Wimsey in Have His Carcase by Dorothy L. Sayers, adapted for radio by Alistair Beaton, with Maria Aitken as Harriet Vane and Nigel Stock as Inspector Umplety. Episode 1, The Evidence of the Corpse.
The best remedy for a bruised heart is not, as so many people seem to think, repose upon a manly bosom. Much more efficacious are honest work, physical activity, and the sudden acquisition of wealth. After being acquitted of murdering her lover, Harriet Vane found all three specifics abundantly at her disposal. To be tried for murder is a fairly good advertisement for a writer of detective fiction, and Harriet Vane thrillers were booming. In the interval between finishing one book and embarking on another, Harriet Vane started off on a solitary walking tour along the southwest coast of England. The month was June, the weather perfect. On the morning of the 18th, she set out from Leston Hoe with the intention of walking along the cliffs to Wilvercombe, 16 miles away. It should have been a pleasant and uneventful way of passing a summer day. But by late that afternoon, Harriet Vane was to be seen hurrying along the Wilvercombe Road in search of help. When help finally arrived, it was in the unlikely shape of a spindly figure clad in stout walking boots and a pair of flapping shorts. As they drew close, Harriet hailed him imperiously.
I say.
Good afternoon.
Excuse me, can you tell me where I can get hold of someone with a car or a telephone? It's frightfully important.
Oh, I'm afraid I can't tell you. You see, I'm a stranger here myself.
Well, could you... That is, you see, there's a dead man on the beach back there.
No, really. I say, that's a bit thick, isn't it? A friend of yours?
Certainly not. I don't know him from Adam, but the police ought to know about it.
The police? Oh, yes, of course, the police. Well, you'll find them in Wilvercombe, you know. There's a police station there.
I know, but that's some miles away, and the body's right down near low water mark. If I can't get somebody along pretty quick, the tide may wash him away.
The tide? But it might be going out, mightn't it?
It might, but it isn't. It's been coming in since 2 o'clock, haven't you noticed?
Well, no, I can't say I have. I'm short-sighted, and I don't know much about it. I live in London, you see. The name's Perkins. I'm on a hiking holiday. Yes, I'm afraid I can't quite see what I can do about it. There don't seem to be any police about here, do there?
Well, if you meet anybody, would you mind telling them about it? A man on the beach with his throat cut.
His throat?
Yes, near some rocks they call the Grinders.
But who cut his throat?
How should I know? I should think he probably did it himself.
Yes, oh, naturally, yes. Yes, otherwise it would be murder, wouldn't it?
Well, it may be murder, of course.
Oh, I shouldn't think so, should you?
You never know. If I were you, I'd be getting along quickly. A murderer may be somewhere about, you know.
Oh, good heavens. But that would be awfully dangerous. Perhaps I should come with you till you find a telephone. To protect you, you know, and that sort of thing.
As you like. If only we knew how far it is to the next village.
That'd be Darley. But I don't know if there's a telephone there.
Well, it's our only chance. Oh, I say, what about that man? Coming down the lane. Look over there with the camping equipment. Let's ask him.
What? Oh, I don't suppose he'll know any better than we do.
Well, I'll go over and ask him anyway. I say, could you tell me how near we are to Darley?
Darley? A few minutes farther on.
Is there a telephone there?
Oh, yes. At Herne, the grocer's, just across the other side of the green. You can't mistake it. It's the only shop there is.
Thank you. Oh, by the way, I suppose there isn't a policeman in the village?
No, there's no policeman living in Darley. They share a constable with the next village, I believe. He floats around on a bicycle occasionally. Anything wrong?
Been an accident along the coast. I found a dead man.
Good Lord. Well, you'd better telephone through to Wilvercombe.
Yes, I will. Thanks.
Not at all.
Come along, Mr. Perkins.
There was no need to stop and speak to him. I don't like the look of that fellow, and we're quite near the place. I came through this morning, you know.
I only wanted to ask if there was a policeman. We must hurry. There's no time to lose. I'm most grateful to you, Mr. Hearn. I'd almost given up hope of ever finding a telephone.
That's all right, miss. Most of the villagers come into the shop at one time or another to use the telephone, so you might say it's all part of the service.
Oh, I'd better tell Mr. Perkins I have another call to make.
Well, the gentleman who was with you, miss, he's gone.
Gone?
Yeah, he slipped away while you was talking to the police on the telephone.
Did he? How strange. Oh, never mind, no great loss. How long do you think the police will take to get here from Wilbraham?
Oh, shouldn't be much longer now, miss.
Well, there won't be much left to see by the time we get to that beach. It'll be high tide soon.
Ah, that'll be the call you booked to London, miss.
Oh, yes, thank you. Hello? Hello. Morning Gazette. Give me the news editor. It's urgent. Hello. Yes, I'm speaking from the village shop in Darley, near Wilbraham. The dead body of a man was found at 2 o'clock this afternoon.
And that's the place, is it, miss?
Yes, that's the place, Inspector. The tide's in now, but when I was here, there was a large rock just over there.
Ah, that'll be the Flatiron. But there must be 17 feet of water over that rock by now.
Well, the body was on the rock. I collected some of his personal belongings, and then I took some photographs.
That was very sensible, miss. Not but what if you'd started sooner, you'd have got to a telephone sooner.
I didn't waste much time. And I thought, supposing the body got washed away or anything, it would be better to have some record of it.
That's true, Miss Vane. Now, you took several hours to get to a telephone. Did you meet anyone on your way into the village?
Yes, there was a hiker on holiday from London.
Oh?
He introduced himself as Perkins. Wasn't very much help, I'm afraid. Seemed terrified he might meet a murderer, so he came with me to the village back the way he'd come.
He wasn't much in evidence when I arrived.
No. As soon as I went into the village shop to phone the police, he just made off.
And was he the only person you met?
Yes. No, wait. There was a camper.
Huh?
A square-built sort of man wearing dark spectacles. He spoke well, not quite like a countryman, like a gentleman of the country sort. What I noticed especially was the tattoo of a snake on his right forearm.
Well, I'm sure we'll be able to trace those two gentlemen. But the first thing to do is find the body. You can't do anything about it now. We have to wait for low tide. That'll be 2 at Emmer or thereabouts. There's the chance, of course, that the body may get washed off the rock and come ashore somewhere. I'm afraid you'll have to come along to the station with me, miss, and make a statement. Let's get back to the car. And then there's the personal effects, of course. And make a note of these, Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
1 shoe, 1 hat, 1 cutthroat razor, cigarette case, handkerchief. Is that the lot, miss?
Yes, that's everything, Inspector. Oh, there's the film. You better have it developed as quickly as possible.
You seem to have done a pretty tidy job, miss. Anybody think you'd made a study of it, taking photographs and all? It's a miracle to me the way you handled it. Why, most young ladies would have run away, let alone taking these shoes and things.
Well, you see, I know what ought to be done. I write detective stories, you know.
There now. Vane. Harriet Vane. Yes. I fancy I've heard that name before.
Yes, I expect you have. I'm the notorious Harriet Vane, who was tried for poisoning Philip Boys 2 years ago.
Oh, just so. Yes. Well, now, Miss Vane, I'm afraid we shall have to ask you to stay within reach for a few days.
Oh, I quite understand that. I suppose I'd better put up somewhere in Wilbraham.
Well, I don't think you could do much better than Clegg's Temperance Hostel. It's cheap and quite comfortable.
I don't care for temperance hostels. What's the best hotel in town?
The Resplendent is the largest.
Then the Resplendent is where you will find me. Can one of your men kindly run me over there? Waiter, some more coffee, please.
Yes, miss. Good morning, Sherlock. Where is the dressing gown? How many pipes of shag have you consumed? The hypodermic is on the dressing-room table.
Peter, how in the world did you get here?
Car. Settled in at the Hotel Bellevue an hour ago. Have they produced the body yet?
Who told you about the body?
I nursed it from afar, old thing. Where the carcass is, there shall be eagles gathered together. May I join you over coffee?
By all means. Where did you come from?
From London. Like a bird that hears the call of its mate.
I didn't call.
I didn't mean you. I meant the corpse. But still, talking of mates, will you marry me?
Certainly not.
I thought not, but I felt I might as well ask the question. Did you say that they had found the body?
Not that I know of.
Well, I don't expect they will then for a bit. There's a regular sou'wester blowing great guns. Tiresome for 'em. You can't have an inquest without a body. You must produce the body, as it says in the His Carcase Act.
No, but really, how did you hear about it?
Salcombe Hardy rang me from the Gazette. Said my Miss Vane had found a corpse, and did I know anything about it? I said I knew nothing about it, and the Miss Vane was unhappily not mine. Yet. So I buzzed off, and here I am. I brought Salcombe Hardy down with me. I expect that's what he really rang me up for. Smart old bird, Sally. Always on the spot.
He told you where to find me, I suppose?
Yes, he seemed to know all about it. I was rather hurt. Fancy having to ask the Gazette where the pole star of one's own heaven has gone to. How do these things get into the papers?
I rang them up myself. First-class publicity, you know, and all that.
So it is. Rang him up, did you, with all the gory details?
Naturally, it was the first thing I thought of.
You're a woman of business. But look here, beloved. Bearing in mind that I'm a corpse fan, don't you think you might have let me in on the ground floor? All the details, please.
I'm tired of giving details.
Tell me all here and now, and I will organise your publicity for you.
Very well. I tell thee all I can no more. I'd set out from Leston Hoe with the intention of walking along the cliffs to Wilvercombe. It's a beautiful road, and it was virtually deserted. Anyway, I'd covered about 8 miles when I decided it was time to stop for lunch.
What time was that exactly?
Just 1 o'clock. I looked at my watch.
As you came along the cliffs, you could see the whole shore?
Yes, including the rock where I found the body.
Was there anybody on the rock then?
I really don't know. I was thinking about my grub, you see, and I was really looking about at the side of the road for a suitable spot to scramble down the cliff. My eyes weren't focused for distance.
I see. It's rather a pity in a way.
Yes, it is. But I can tell you one thing. There was nothing moving on the shore. I distinctly remember thinking that the beach seemed absolutely and gloriously deserted. Perfect spot for a picnic. I'm positive there wasn't a living soul walking or standing or sitting anywhere within eyeshot.
And then?
Then, I'm afraid, I dozed off. I've been reading Tristram Shandy.
The pace of Tristram Shandy is not so swift as to keep the faculties working at high pressure, what? How long were you asleep?
About half an hour. When I woke, I looked at my watch again.
What woke you?
A seagull squawking round after bits of my sandwiches.
That makes it 2 o'clock.
Yes.
Now, what about the corpse? Were there any wet stains on the shoes?
No, I'd have noticed that, because I took one of his shoes with me as evidence.
Therefore, he went dry shot to the rock. So, we only have to find out exactly when the sand on the landward side of the rock is uncovered, and we can tell pretty close what time our victim got to the rock.
Of course, how stupid of me. Well, we can easily find that out.
Tell me about the rock and the position of the corpse.
It's very big, about 10 feet tall, roughly triangular in shape. As I said, at first I thought there was seaweed on it, but when I approached the rock, I began to realise it was the figure of a man. I climbed up and, well, his throat had been cut from ear to ear. Once I'd got over the first shock, I collected some articles of clothing and took some snaps, so at least there'd be something to show to the police if the body were to be washed away. So I took his hat, a handkerchief, a shoe, his cigarette case, and... Oh, yes, then I realised there must be a weapon.
No weapon, no suicide.
Exactly. Well, the water was about 18 inches deep at the base of the rock by this time, but I felt around just under where he might have dropped a weapon, and I found a cut-throat razor. That was about as much as I could do, really. Oh, yes, I tried to take his gloves off, but, well, they were rather stained with blood, and I'm afraid I found it too distasteful.
And at the moment you were on the rock, there was nobody within sight?
Not a single soul, except a man in a boat.
Ah, a boat. Now, supposing the boat had come in when the tide was out and the occupant had walked or waded up to the rock.
That's possible, of course. The boat was some way out.
It all seems to depend on when the corpse got there. We must find that out.
You're determined it should be murder.
Well, suicide seems so dull. And why go all that way to commit suicide?
Why not? Much tidier than doing it in your bedroom. Aren't we beginning at the wrong end? If we knew who the man was, we might find he'd left an explanatory note behind him to say why he was going to do it. I dare say the police know all about it by now.
Possibly.
What's worrying you?
2 things. First, the gloves. Why should anybody cut his throat in gloves, The second point that troubles me is the weapon. Salcombe Hardy tells me the corpse had a beard.
That's right.
Well, why should a gentleman with a beard sport a cut-throat razor?
Bought for the purpose.
Yes, after all, why not? My dear Harriet, I think you're right. The man cut his own throat, and that's all there is to it. Yeah, I'm disappointed.
Is disappointing. Can't be helped. Hello, here's my friend the inspector.
Good morning, Miss Vane. I thought you might like to see how your snaps have turned out. We've identified the man.
No, have you? Good work. This is Inspector Umblety, Lord Peter Wimsey.
Oh, delighted to make your acquaintance, my lord.
How do you do, Inspector? Do sit down.
Oh, thank you. I don't know that you'll find anything mysterious about this case, my lord. Just a plain suicide, I fancy.
We had regretfully come to that conclusion.
Oh, why you should have done it, I don't know. But you can never tell with these foreigners, can you?
I thought he looked rather foreign.
Yes, he's a Russian or something like that. Paul Alexis Goldschmidt, his name is. Known as Paul Alexis. Comes from this very hotel, as a matter of fact. One of the professional dancing partners in the lounge there. You know the sort. Age, 22 or thereabouts. Unmarried. Living in rooms. Nothing known against him.
You didn't leave a letter for the coroner or anything?
We found nothing so far. And, as regards the coroner, that's a bit of a bother, that is. I don't know how long it will be, miss, before you're wanted. You see, we can't find the body.
Yes, well, just as well you took those photographs, Sherlock, or we'd have had no proof there'd ever been a body.
It's annoying. We like to get these things tidied up as we go along.
Naturally. Well, I'm sure if anybody can tidy him up, you can, Inspector.
Oh.
You impress me as being a man with an essentially tidy mind. I will engage to prophesy, Sherlock, that before lunchtime, Inspector Umplety will have sorted out the dead man's papers, got the entire story from the hotel manager, identified the place where the razor was bought, and explained the mysterious presence of the gloves.
Well, as for the razor, my lord, I think that's neither here nor there.
Oh, well, I expect you're right, Inspector. However, if it ain't troubling you too much, I wonder if I might have a look at it.
Well, certainly, my lord. I'll get Sergeant Saunders to show you all the dead man's effects. And if you'd like to come along with me, you'll dodge all these reporters hanging about in the lobby.
This is the razor found by the young lady, my lord.
Ah, thank you, Sergeant. Has it been examined for fingerprints?
Oh, yes, my lord.
Any result?
Well, I couldn't exactly say, my lord, but I believe not.
Well, anyway, one's allowed to handle it, what? Ah. Well, apart from a slight crack in the ivory handle, it seems to show no very striking peculiarities. If there's any blood left on it, it'll be hanging about in the joint. The sea seems to have done its work pretty thoroughly. Ah, hat. Fair to middling, but not exclusive. Cranial capacity on the small side. Shape, a little more emphatic than is quite necessary. Brilliantine. Ordinary stinking variety. Deduction, not wealthy, but keen on personal appearance. Do we conclude that the hat belongs to the corpse?
Yes, I think so. The brilliantine corresponds all right.
Cigarette case. Ah, now this is different. 15-carat gold. Plain and fairly new, with monogram PA. And containing 60 risk. Yeah, the case is pucker, all right. Probably a gift from some wealthy female admirer. Handkerchief. Silk, but not from Burlington Arcade. Colour beastly. Laundry mark.
Laundry mark's all right. Wilvercombe Sanitary Steam Laundry. Mark OK for this fellow, Alexis.
Now for the shoe. Nearly new. Thin sole, foul colour, and a worse shape. Handmade, so that the horrid appearance is due to malice aforethought. Not the shoe of a man who does much walking. Made, I observe, in Wilvercombe.
Yeah, well, that's OK, too. We've seen the man. He made that shoe for Mr. Alexis, all right. Knows him well.
Let's see the sole again. Slight traces of salt water here, but none on the uppers. Inference, he walked over the sand when it was very wet, but did not actually wade through the salt water. 2 or 3 scratches on the toe cap, probably got from clambering up the rock. Well, thanks awfully, Sergeant. You're quite at liberty to inform Inspector Umplety of all the valuable deductions we've drawn.
Very good, my lord.
Oh, and tell the Inspector that I shall be going to London today and returning as soon as possible.
Yes, my lord.
To London? Why London?
Obviously, I should have preferred to stay here and view the town. But let us make our way to the lounge of the Bellevue, order some refreshments, and I shall explain all.
Isn't it a little early for refreshments?
It is, to be sure, a little early, but I always drive more mellowly on a pint of beer. Shall we go? Now, Harriet, you will have observed that the razor is an instrument of excellent and expensive quality by a first-class maker, and that in addition to the name of the manufacturer, it is engraved on the reverse side with the mystic word Endicott.
Yes, what is Endicott?
Endicott is, or was, one of the most exclusive hairdressers in the West End. He will, or would, hardly condescend to shave anybody who has not been in Debrett for the last 300 years. Well, consider first of all the anomaly of the man who buys his razor from Endicott's and yet wears the regrettable shoes and mass-production millinery found on the corpse. Could a man who is shaved by Endicott possibly deliberately order, shoes of that colour and shape? A thing at which the imagination boggles. But to leave that distressing subject and come back to the razor. That razor has seen a good deal of hard wear. It has been reground a considerable number of times. Our really first-class razor needs very little in the way of grinding and setting, providing it is mercifully used and kept carefully stropped. Therefore, either the man who used it was very clumsy and careless about using the strop, or his beard was abnormally stiff, or both. Probably both.
I see. Well, I didn't know all that.
But I suggest that a young man who had so much difficulty with his razor would be more likely to have changed over to a safety and used a new blade every few days. However, the first thing to do is to trace old Endicott and find out from him whether it was possible for one of his razors to have been sold later than 1925.
Why 1925?
Because that was the date at which old Endicott sold his premises and retired with varicose veins and a small fortune.
But he might have sold the stock.
That's what I want to find out. I'll have to be off now, and while I'm about it, shall I see about getting a marriage license?
Don't trouble, thank you.
Very well, I just thought I'd ask. I say, while I'm away, how would it be if you put in some good work with the other guests here? You might get hold of some gossip about Paul Alexis.
It's very good of you to come up to my room like this, Miss Vane. I saw you with the police and all those reporters were talking and... You see, the hotel manager wouldn't tell me anything. I'm sorry, my name is Weldon, Mrs. Weldon. I've been staying in the Resplendent for some time now. Mr. Greeley, that's the manager, he knows me very well.
It's all right, Mrs. Weldon. I suppose it's about...
Yes, about Mr. Alexis. The chambermaid told me a horrible story. Oh, Miss Vane, please tell me what happened.
I'm afraid something rather beastly has happened. You see, I was down on the shore yesterday afternoon and I found a man lying there dead. And I'm dreadfully afraid it's Mr. Alexis.
That's what I heard. Was it... Do you know... A heart attack?
Afraid not, no. They seem to think he did it himself.
Oh, he couldn't have. He couldn't have. He was so perfectly happy. He couldn't have done anything like that. How do they know?
Well, you see, there's a photograph.
Oh, show me the photograph.
It isn't very pleasant to look at.
Show me the photograph. I want to know.
If you insist, Mrs. Weldon, here it is.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
I'm very sorry.
Oh, Paul.
Come and sit down. Have a cigarette.
Oh, thank you. You're very kind. I'm afraid I'm giving you a lot of trouble.
Not a bit. I only wish I could help you.
You can. Oh, if only you would. I'm sure you're clever. You look clever. I'm not clever. I do wish I was. I think I should have been happier if I'd been clever. It must be nice to do things.
Yes. Yes, perhaps an occupation of some kind is a good thing.
But of course I was never brought up to that. I've lived for my emotions. I can't help it. Of course, my married life was a tragedy, but that's all over now. And my son, oh, you might not think I was old enough to have a grown-up son, my dear, but I was married scandalously young. My son has been a sad disappointment to me. He has no heart, and that does seem strange, seeing that I'm really all heart myself.
Suppose you tell me exactly what you want done, Mrs. Weldon.
Oh, yes, of course. You see, Miss Vane, I know absolutely that poor Paul couldn't have done anything rash. He couldn't. He was so utterly happy with me and looking forward to it all.
To what?
Why, to our marriage.
Marriage?
Yes, in a fortnight's time. Oh, we were so happy, like children. From the very first night I visited the hotel, we seemed to be drawn together. He was lonely too. We were both exiles in our own way.
Oh, yes, he came from Russia, didn't he?
Yes, as a tiny boy, poor little soul. He was really a prince, you know. But he never liked to say too much about that. Just a hint here and there. He felt it very much, being reduced to being a professional dancer.
Of course, yes. You didn't have any misunderstanding or anything that might have led him to...
No, we danced together that last night, and he whispered to me there was a great and wonderful change coming into his life. He was all eagerness and excitement. He danced so wonderfully that night. He said, I may have to go away tomorrow, but I can't tell you yet where or why. We got engaged in February, but he suggested putting the wedding off till June. He felt that we ought to wait and try to overcome my son's opposition. You see, Paul's position made him very sensitive. I'm rather well off, and of course he hadn't a penny, poor boy, and he always refused to take any presents from me.
How long had he been in England?
Only a few years. He came here from America, you see, after his adopted parents died there. They gave him their own name of Goldschmidt.
I suppose he went to school somewhere.
Oh, yes. He went to an ordinary state school in New York with those poor little East Side children. But he hated it. They used to laugh at him because he was delicate. They were rough with him, and once he got knocked down in the playground, and he was ill for a very long time.
Then later he became a dancer?
Yes, he worked very hard at it. But he had some trouble in one of his knees, arthritis or something, and he was afraid it would get worse and cripple him. Oh, dear. It seems we were fated to meet, and now... Oh, we were both so sad and lonely. We were going to be happy together.
It's frightfully sad. I suppose Mr. Alexis was very temperamental.
If you mean that he did this awful thing himself, no, never. I know he didn't.
You do realise, Mrs. Weldon, don't you, that if he didn't do it himself, then somebody else must have done it?
Yes, and I'm sure somebody else did do it. I'm sure of it, Miss Vane. I'm sure of it.
In that episode of Have His Carcase, the parts were played as follows. Lord Peter Wimsey, Ian Carmichael, Harriet Vane, Maria Aitken, Inspector Umplety, Nigel Stock, Haviland Martin, Warren Clark, Mrs. Weldon, Isabel Dean, Julian Perkins, Richard O'Callaghan, Saunders, John Webb, Mr. Hearn, Alexander John, narrator, John Westbrook. Have His Carcase was adapted by Alistair Beaton from the book by Dorothy L. Sayers and was produced by Martin Fisher. We present Ian Carmichael as Lord Peter Wimsey in Have His Carcase by Dorothy L. Sayers, adapted for radio by Alistair Beaton, with Maria Aitken as Harriet Vane and Nigel Stock as Inspector Umplety. Episode 2. Lord Peter Sets a Trap.
When Harriet Vane's walking tour along the south coast of England was interrupted by the discovery of a body on the beach, she had first assumed that she had encountered merely the dullest kind of suicide. It was not, she reflected, nearly so complicated and interesting a problem as any of the situations she so successfully described in her best-selling detective novels. Thus it was with a certain diffidence that Harriet pursued her inquiries in the little town of Wilvercombe, while Lord Peter returned to London in an attempt to trace the origin of the razor found beside the body. Having established that the victim had been making plans to marry one Mrs. Weldon, a lady both older and richer than her betrothed, Harriet resolved to find out whether the professional dancers of the largest and grandest local hotel could cast any light on the last days of the unfortunate Paul Alexis. And that is why, on the evening following her discovery of the corpse, Miss Harriet Vane was to be seen swaying round the dance lounge of the Hotel Resplendent in the competent professional arms of a dark-haired gigolo, known to one and all as Monsieur Antoine.
I'm afraid, Monsieur Antoine, that I'm not a very good dancer.
You dance very correctly, mademoiselle. It is only the entrain that is a little lacking. It is possible that you are awaiting the perfect partner. When the heart dances with the feet, then it will be à merveille.
Is that the kind of thing you have to say to all these old ladies?
I am afraid so. That is part of our job, you know, Miss Vane.
It must be very tedious.
Que voulez-vous? All work has its tedious moments, which are repaid by those that are more agreeable.
There's something I wanted to ask you, Monsieur Antoine. Tell me about Mr. Alexis.
Poor Alexis. It was Mademoiselle who found him, I understand.
Yes. I had heard that he was engaged to be married.
Oh, yes, to the English lady, Mrs. Weldon. That was understood.
Was he happy about it?
Mademoiselle, Alexis was poor and the English lady is very rich. It was advantageous to him to marry her. At first, no doubt, it might offer a little désagrément, but afterwards, you understand, mademoiselle, these matters arrange themselves.
You don't think that he suddenly felt he couldn't face it and took this way out?
That is difficult to say, but no, I do not think so. He had, after all, only to go away. He was a very good dancer and very popular. He would easily have found another situation, provided his health would permit him to continue.
It all seems to me rather odd that he should have done away with himself like that.
Thank you, mademoiselle.
What is the arrangement now? Do we go on dancing, or have you other engagements?
There is no reason why we should not continue for the next dance. After that, unless mademoiselle wishes to make a special arrangement, I have to attend to my other patrons.
No, I don't want to upset things. Is there any reason why you and the two young ladies who work here should not have a little supper with me later on?
None at all. It is very kind, very amiable. There is a small restaurant only a few streets from here. We can be private there and speak quite freely. I will arrange it all. It is natural that mademoiselle should take an interest.
And then, you see, of course, Alexis had a girl as well.
Oh, did he? Tell me about her, Doris.
Well, Caris knows more about it than me, really, don't you, Caris?
No, I don't. It was you Alexis shared all his secrets with.
Well, he did have a girl, but they broke it off a few weeks ago.
I see. Was Alexis very upset?
Oh, no. Seemed rather pleased about it, in fact, didn't he, Antoine?
It is true. He seemed relieved.
If you ask me, Alexis wanted her out of the way so he could get on with his other little plans.
What other little plans?
Oh, I'm sure I don't know. But he had something up his sleeve these last few weeks. Very grand about it, he was. You'll see, he said. Just you wait a little bit. Well, I'm sure, I said. I had no wish to intrude. You can keep your secrets, I said, for I don't want to know them.
All this rubbish about his noble birth and fallen fortunes. You think he did the floor a favour by dancing on it?
Oh, come on, Caris. He wasn't so bad as all that. Anyhow, he's dead, poor boy. And you oughtn't to run him down.
Why is he dead? One does not cut one's throat pour s'amuser.
That's another thing I can't make out. He hadn't the nerve to do a thing like that. Why, he was terrified of pricking his little finger. You needn't frown like that, Doris. Alexis was a regular namby-pamby, and you know it. You used to laugh at him yourself. I cannot climb that step-ladder. I am afraid to fall. I am afraid to go to the dentist. He might pull my teeth out. Really, Mr. Alexis, I used to say to him, anyone would think you was made of glass.
And he'd have taken some sleeping stuff if he really wanted to do it. But cutting his throat with a razor, no, he'd never do that.
That's awfully interesting. By the way, did he have anything the matter with his skin? I mean, did he always have to wear gloves or anything of that sort?
Oh, no. The gigolo must not have things the matter with his skin. That would not do at all.
He said his skin was sensitive, and that's why he didn't shave.
Did Alexis have a razor at all?
I cannot tell. Do you know Doris?
Me? I like that. Alexis wasn't my fancy man, you know. But I'll ask Layla Garland. She ought to know.
His mistress. Yes, ask her, Doris. That is of importance. I have not thought of that. Mon Dieu.
You've told me a lot of interesting things. I'm very much obliged to you. And I'd be still more obliged if you didn't mention that I'd been asking you.
Listen, mademoiselle. We know how to be discreet. Ma foi, if we did not, we should not keep our jobs, you understand. We have eyes and ears, mademoiselle, but we say nothing. It is our business to say nothing.
A perfectly splendid day for exploring beaches. Perhaps a trifle on the blowy side, but let's not complain.
Peter, I shall certainly start to complain very loudly unless you immediately tell me what you found out about the razor.
The razor? Oh, the razor. Well, I tracked down old Endicott without too much difficulty. His hairdressing salon in Jermyn Street is now sadly reduced to a ham shop, though I do believe they do a rather good line in Gentleman's Special Pickle. I found the old boy living in healthy retirement in Ealing. Fortunately, he still has a memory like an encyclopedia, and he actually recalls selling one of his splendid razors to Colonel Belford, who was forever bringing his razor back to Endicott to be reset. Seems the Colonel took the edge off with the strop instead of putting it on.
And you found the Colonel?
I did. Endicott still had his address. The good Colonel proved to be a rather cantankerous old fellow. However, he eventually informed me that he had given away his pair of razors to the gardener.
Who no longer worked for him?
On the contrary. I interviewed the gardener, who had wisely passed on the maltreated razors to his brother-in-law, who lives in Seahampton.
Seahampton? But that's less than 50 miles from here.
Precisely.
Didn't you ask this gardener if either of the razors had a crack in the ivory handle?
I did. One of them had been dropped on the stone floor of the cottage, which had left a slight crack in the handle.
So did you go to Seahampton?
Yes, and I found the brother-in-law, who is a hairdresser. He still had one of the razors, the one without the crack.
And what happened to the other one?
He'd sold it to an itinerant hairdresser who'd come to him looking for work.
Recently?
Only a few weeks ago. A man by the name of Bright, described by our hairdresser as a little rat of a fellow, sandy-haired and too smooth by half. Oh, yes, and he had one shoulder higher than the other.
Peter, that's wonderful. All we have to do is find this Mr. Bright. I mean, surely there can't be two white Endicott razors bearing the same evidence of misuse and with the same small crack in the ivory.
It's probably the right razor.
A tramp barber with sandy hair and a crooked shoulder ought not to be so very difficult to find.
There's always the disagreeable possibility that Mr. Bright was a barber for that one performance only. In which case, his name is certainly not Bright. Well, here we are. Let us continue our discussion at the scene of the crime.
We can get down to the beach from that path over there. There's the rock where I found the body. The Devil's Flatiron.
Right. Now, the thing we want to get is the time of the death.
Well, the police are quite clear about how Alexis came here, and there doesn't seem to be any doubt in the matter, which is a blessing. There's a train from Wilvercombe that stops at Darley Halt on Thursdays at 10:15 to take people into Heathbury Market. Alexis travelled by that train and got out at the halt. He was pretty conspicuous with his black beard and his natty gent's outfitting.
Witnesses?
Yes, lots. The guard on the train, 3 or 4 of his fellow travellers, and the booking clerk remembers him at Wilvercombe. And there's a first-class return ticket from Wilvercombe to Darley Halt that was never given up and never accounted for.
A return ticket? Well, that seems to knock the suicide theory on the head.
Well, one wouldn't make an intending suicide take a return ticket in a book, but real people are different.
Let us merely note the return half of the ticket as something that needs explaining. Now, if the train gets into Darley Halt at 10:15, and allowing Alexis the moderate pace of 3 miles an hour, then he can't have got to the Flatiron later than, say, 11:45.
Stop a minute. How about the tide? When was low water on Thursday?
At 1:15. I've been into all that. At 11:45, or very shortly after, our friend could have walked out dry-shod and sat on it.
Good. We know he did go out dry-shod, so that all fits in nicely. What next?
Well, what? Whether he cut his own throat or whether somebody cut it for him, when did he die? It's an awful pity we've lost the body. Even if it turns up, it won't tell us a thing. It wasn't stiff, of course, when you saw it, and you say you can't tell if it was cold.
If there'd been a block of ice on that rock at the time, you could have boiled eggs on it.
Tiresome, tiresome. Now, wait a minute. The blood. Now, how about that? Did you notice whether it was a sort of jelly of white serum with the red part at the bottom or anything?
It wasn't. It was liquid.
It was what?
Liquid. When I put my hand into it, it was quite wet.
Great Scott! Was it in a hollow on the rock? I mean, could it have been mixed with seawater?
No, listen, it was quite liquid everywhere. It dripped out of his neck, and when I tried to take his glove off, the leather wasn't stiff, it was soft and wet. His hand had been lying right under his throat.
Good Lord,
That was the left hand. The right hand was...
Yes, I know. That doesn't matter now. It's the blood. Do you realise that if the blood was still liquid, he can only have been dead a few minutes?
Oh, what a fool I am. I ought to have known that. And I thought I was deducing things so nicely. I mean, he couldn't have been bleeding slowly to death for some time, I suppose.
With his throat cut to the neck bone? Dear child, pull yourself together. Now look here. Blood clots very quickly. More quickly, of course, on a cold surface. In the ordinary way, it'll clot almost instantaneously on exposure to the air. I dare say it might take a little longer on a hot surface, like the rock you described so graphically, but it couldn't take more than a few minutes, say 10, to give it an outside limit.
10 minutes? Oh, Peter, that noise that woke me up, I thought it was a seagull's cry. They sound so human, but suppose it was...
It must have been. When was that?
2 o'clock. I looked at my watch. And I shouldn't think it took me more than 10 minutes to reach the rock, but... I say... Well, how about your murder theory? That's done it in absolutely. If Alexis was murdered at 2 o'clock and I was there 10 minutes after, what became of the murderer?
Oh, hell. Harriet, dear, sweet, beautiful Harriet, say you were mistaken. We can't be wrong about the murder. I've staked my reputation with Inspector Umplety that it couldn't have been suicide. Say that the blood was clotted. Or say at least that there were footprints you overlooked. What about the boat you saw?
Well, there was a boat, but it wasn't within hail, because I hailed it.
What do you mean, not within hail because you hailed it? If the murderer was in the boat, naturally he wouldn't have put back if it had hailed sweet potatoes. What sort of a boat was it?
Well, frankly, one sailing boat to me is much like any other.
Yeah, well, never mind. We'll be able to trace it. I only wanted to know what sort of draft the boat was likely to have. You see, if the boat couldn't come right into the rock, the fellow would have had to row himself in or swim for it. And that would have delayed him a good bit.
Oh, Peter, a very unpleasant thought has just struck me. You don't think the murderer could have been there, quite close, all the time, swimming underwater or something?
He'd have to come up to breathe.
Yes, but I might not have noticed him.
It's a nasty thought. I wonder if there's any cleft in the Flatiron where he might have hidden himself. I say, I'm going down to have a look at it. Turn your modest eyes seaward till I've climbed into a bathing suit. You do the same, and we shall explore the Flatiron and see what it has to tell us.
The water's damn chilly.
Icy, I'd say.
Where were you? On this side?
On the other. I looked down on both sides of me, though.
Yeah. Well, climb up on the rock, the spot where you were standing.
All right.
You didn't look down in this direction by any chance, did you?
No, I don't think so. I came round in that direction and groped about under the rock.
Uh-huh.
There were about 18 inches of water. And that's the spot where I found the razor.
Here?
No. There.
There?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there are about 5 feet of water now, I should think. Can you see me from where you're standing?
No, there's a bulge in the rock.
Well, I'm standing in a little niche. It's about the size of a coffin. Beautifully screened from all sides except the sea.
How horrible. The man must have been in there all the time.
Well, I think it's more plausible than the boat idea. Mind you, it's a trifle cramped in here. Might be all right if you're not too vulgar big.
Bright.
I'm glad you think so.
I mean, Bright. The man who bought the razor. Didn't the hairdresser say he was small?
So he did, Badel. One up to you. I wonder... Oh, I say, I found something. Look, come down and have a look at this.
What is it?
Well, it's a ring. Sort of thing you tie boats up to, driven right into the rock.
Where?
Well, it's underwater. It feels smooth and new, not corroded. Does that help your boat theory at all, I wonder?
I don't know, I'm getting cold. Let's swim about a bit and then get dressed and discuss it.
Right.
Look here. If you were a murderer and you saw an interfering woman pottering about among the evidence and then going off in search of help, what would you do?
Leg it in the opposite direction.
Then you think that when I'd gone, the murderer just totted off home to Leston Hole?
Unless he went along the main road to Wolvercombe and then doubled back again so as to pretend that he'd just come from Wolvercombe.
Then I'd have met him.
Well, suppose you did.
But... Oh, yes.
Mr. what's his name from London? Your spineless hiker.
Perkins. Yes, I wonder. Could anybody be genuinely as foolish as Perkins appeared? He was a rat of a man, too, quite small, and he was sandy-haired. And you know, I do think it was awfully funny the way Perkins just evaporated when I got to the village shop to phone the police. Good Lord. Fancy me meekly trotting along for a mile and a half, hand in hand with a murderer.
Juicy. Very juicy. We'll have to look more carefully into Mr. Perkins. Can that name be real? It seems almost too suitable. According to the police, Perkins hired a car in the village and got himself driven to Wilvercombe railway station. He is thought to have taken a train to somewhere, but the place was full of trampers and trippers that day, and so far they haven't traced him further. I adore the thought of Bright being Perkins. I say, though, how about this lopsided hunchback business? Was Perkins upright as a willow wand, or how?
Not by any means. But I shouldn't have called him actually crooked, more sloppy and round-shouldered. He had a rucksack on his back, and he was walking a bit lame, as if he had a blister on his foot.
Well, that would be a good way of disguising any one-sidedness in his appearance. You're always apt to hunch up a bit on the lame side. Bright Perkins is our man. We ought to get the police onto this right away. And that, Inspector, is why Bright or Perkins must be found without delay.
You may say what you like, my lord, but to my mind, it was suicide for all that. And if I was a sporting man, I wouldn't mind having a bet on it. There's no harm done by tracing this fellow Bright, because if the identification of the razor is correct, that's who this Alexis must have bought it from. But there's no doubt in my mind that when the poor chap left his lodgings on Thursday, he never meant to come back. You only got to look at the place. Everything tidied away, bills all paid up, papers burnt in the grate. You might say he'd regular said goodbye and kissed his hand to everything.
No hope of recovering anything from the ashes?
No, he must have torn everything into small scraps first, and then beaten the ashes into atoms with the poker.
Any books or anything with writing in the fly-leaves?
Just a few novels with poor Alexis inside, and some with nothing at all. And one or two paperback books written in Chinese.
Chinese?
Well, it looked like it. Russian, maybe. Not in proper letters, anyhow. One or two history books there was too, mostly about Russia.
Any money?
No.
Had he a banking account?
Yes, he had a small account with Lloyd's. Matter of little over £300. But he drew the whole lot out 3 weeks ago.
Did he, Major? Whatever for? Wouldn't cost him all that to buy a razor. Something else, Inspector. Suppose a fishing boat had wanted to come in at the Flatiron just about low tide on Thursday. Could she do it?
Oh, easy, my lord. Some of these boats don't draw more than a foot of water. You could bring her in beautifully, provided you kept clear of the grinders and remembered to reckon with the current.
A stranger might get into difficulties, what?
He might, but not if he was a good seaman. We've been trying to get a line on that boat you saw, Miss Vane. I got an idea it might have been one of the Pollocks. But they're a surly lot, the Pollocks. It won't be easy to get any useful information out of them.
At any rate, Inspector, I think we've got the actual time of the death pretty well fixed by now. That ought to help.
Yes, my lord, but I think we're going to find that this murder stuff is clean impossible. You see, we haven't been idle either. Anyone travelling along the road between Wilvercombe and Leicester has got to go through the level crossing gates near Darley. We've checked with the keeper there and investigated the bona fides of every traveller that day. And I'm quite ready to vouch for any of them personally.
What about the fellow I spoke to, who was camping out along there, just beyond Darley Halt?
Well, unfortunately, we haven't laid hands on that particular gentleman, though we've got inquiries out after him. He packed up and departed early on Friday morning, taking his belongings in a Morgan. He'd been camping at the bottom of Inks Lane since Tuesday, and has the name of Aviland Martin.
Is that so? And he disappeared immediately after the crime? Isn't that a trifle suspicious?
Not a bit. He was having his lunch at the Three Feathers in Darley at 1 o'clock, and he didn't leave till 1:30. Nobody in a Morgan passed through the level crossing that day, so he'd have had to walk along the shore. If the time of the death was 2 o'clock, then... Well, you tell me how a man could walk 4.5 miles in half an hour, and I'll get a warrant made out for Mr. Martin's arrest.
Your trick, Inspector.
Thank you. Well, in any case, Mr. Martin isn't much good to us because he spent Thursday morning in Wilvercombe, or so he mentioned to the landlord of the Feathers.
What a pity. Did anybody notice the number of his Morgan?
Yes. It belongs to a London garage, where they hire out cars to be driven by the IRA. Mr. Martin came in there last Thursday week, paid his deposit in case, and returned the bus on Sunday night. He said that he'd given up his house and had no fixed address, but gave a reference to a Cambridge banker.
How about the bank?
Oh, that's all right. Mr. Evelyn Martin has been a depositor there for 5 years. Introduced by another client. No irregularity.
All the same, I'd like to have a chat with him. There are points about him which seem to be suggestive, as Sherlock Holmes would say.
Well, I'd feel more enthusiastic about this investigation, my lord, if I had any sort of proof that there really was a murder committed. Just at present, it's a bit thin, you'll allow.
If it is a case of murder, it's been so neatly worked out, there doesn't seem to be much of a loophole in it.
Unless it's the razor. Look here, Inspector. I've got an idea about the razor.
Yes, my lord?
I think I'll have a word with Salcombe Hardy. He's still down here covering the case for the Gazette. Our one hope now is to tempt the murderer, if there is one, into making a mistake by trying to be too clever. Yes, I think that's worth a try.
And I think you're treating me damn badly, old man.
Oh, I wouldn't say that, Sally.
I'm the last pressman to still be following this case. I know you must have something up your sleeve, or you wouldn't be hanging around the scene of the crime like this. Unless it's the girl. If there's nothing else doing, give me a story about the girl. Anything will do, as long as it's a story. Romantic engagement of Pierre's son. That's better than nothing.
Now, pull yourself together, Sally, and keep your inky paws out of my private affairs. Anyway, I'm going to give you a nice, pretty story all to yourself. Now then, take this down. The mystery surrounding the horrible tragedy at the Flatiron deepens steadily with every effort to solve it. Far from being a simple case of suicide, as at first seemed probable, the horrible death...
All right, I can do that part on my own. What I want is the story.
Yes, but work up the mystery part of it. Go on, now. Lord Peter Wimsey, the celebrated amateur of crime detection, interviewed by our special correspondent in his pleasant sitting room at the Hotel Bellevue.
Is the sitting room important?
The address is. I want them to know where to find me.
Right you are. Go ahead.
At the Hotel Bellevue, Wilvercombe, said that while the police still held strongly to the suicide theory, he himself was by no means satisfied. The point that particularly troubled him was that, whereas the deceased wore a full beard and had never been known to shave, the crime...
Crime?
Suicide is a crime.
So it is. Well?
Was committed with an ordinary cutthroat razor which shows signs of considerable previous hard wear. Now, rub that in well, Sally. The history of this razor has been traced up to a point.
Who traced it?
I did.
Can I say that?
If you like.
Well, that makes it better. Lord Peter Wimsey explained, with his characteristically modest smile, that he had himself been at pains to trace the previous history of the razor, a search which led him... where did it lead you, Wimsey?
I don't want to tell him that. Say that the search covered many hundreds of miles.
All right, I can make that sound very important. Anything else?
Yes. Now, this is the important bit. Get him to put it in black lettering, you know.
Not my business, sub-editor. But I'll try. To continue. Leaning over the table and emphasizing the point with an eloquent gesture of his artistic hand, Lord Peter said...
The trail breaks off at the crucial point. How did the razor get into the hands of Paul Alexis? If I could be satisfied at that, the answer might at once set at rest all my doubts. If Paul Alexis can be proved to have bought the razor, I shall consider the suicide theory to have been proved up to the hilt. But until that missing link in the chain of evidence is reconstructed, I shall hold that Paul Alexis was foully and brutally murdered, and I shall spare no efforts to bring the murderer to the judgment he has so richly deserved. There. How's that, Sally?
Not too bad. I can work that up into something.
Oh, thank you.
I might even get them to offer a reward.
Oh, why not? Anyway, pitch it to 'em hot and strong.
I will. For better, for worse, for richer, for poorer. Between you and me, Wimsey, would you be satisfied that it was suicide if the reward was claimed?
Probably not. In fact, I am never satisfied. Just publish, Sally, publish. Reveal all in your rag, and we shall see who, if anyone, comes forward.
In that episode of Have His Carcase, the parts were played as follows. Lord Peter Wimsey, Ian Carmichael, Harriet Vane, Maria Aitken, Inspector Umplety, Nigel Stock, Antoine Malcolm Ingram, Salcombe Hardy Patrick Newell, Doris Carol Harrison, Caris Deirdre Costello, narrator John Westbrook. Have His Carcase was adapted by Alistair Beaton from the book by Dorothy L. Sayers and was produced by Martin Fisher.
We present Ian Carmichael as Lord Peter Wimsey in Have His Carcase by Dorothy L. Sayers, adapted for radio by Alistair Beaton, with Mariah Aitken as Harriet Vane and Nigel Stock as Inspector Umplety. Episode 3, A Dutiful Son.
To construct a theory of murder without a corpse is difficult enough. To do so when no trace can be found of the chief suspects is sufficient to try the patience of the gods. Having found the body of Paul Alexis on the beach near Wilvercombe, Harriet Vane had failed to prevent the body being washed out to sea by the incoming tide. This unhappy circumstance was complicated by the disappearance of Haviland Martin and Julian Perkins, the only two people known to have been near the beach at the time of Alexis's death. Even Mrs. Weldon, who had been engaged to marry Paul Alexis, could provide no evidence to support her highly emotional assertions that her fiancé had been murdered. Lord Peter and Harriet Vane were by now pinning their hopes on the razor found near the body. They knew it had been purchased by a man calling himself William Bright. Hoping to make Bright come forward of his own accord, Lord Peter carefully planted an article in the pages of the Morning Gazette, while Inspector Umplety of the Wilvercombe Police, with no clear line of investigation of his own to pursue, made his way down to the harbour and put a few pertinent questions to the only other person who might have witnessed the death of Paul Alexis.
Can't a man take his own boat out when he likes and where he likes? Sea's freedom all, ain't it, Inspector?
Of course it is, Pollock. But if you were up to no mischief, why take that tone about it, What time did you get to the Flatiron?
That ain't no business of yours. Police here, police there. There ain't no freedom in this blasted country.
Look here, Pollock, if you've got nothing to hide, why not answer a plain question?
Well, what is the question? Were I off the Flatiron on Thursday? Yes, I were. What about it?
What time did you set out?
About 1 o'clock.
And you got to the Flatiron about 2.
Well, and where's the harm in that?
Did you see anybody on the shore at that time?
I see a fool of a woman capering about on the beach, going on as if she was a loony. Then she runs up to the Flatiron and starts messing about there.
Was there anybody on the Flatiron?
There was a chap lying down, at least. It looked so.
And then?
Well, then she starts yowling and waving her arms.
Well?
Well, what? I didn't take no notice. I never takes no notice of females.
Now, Pollock, did you see anybody else on the shore that morning?
Oh, not a soul.
Were you within sight of shore all the time?
Yes, I were.
Was anybody with you in the boat?
No, there weren't.
Then what was that grandson of yours doing?
Him? Well, he was with me.
Ah.
I thought you meant there was somebody else that didn't ought to have been there.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, nothing. Only policemen's a pack of fools, mostly.
That's enough of that. Where is your grandson?
Over to Cork. Went last Saturday, he did.
Cork, eh? Smuggling goods into Ireland?
Yeah, of course not. Business. My business.
Your business seems to be rather mysterious, Pollock. You'd better be careful. We'll want to see that young man when he gets back. At any rate, are you in a position to say whether you saw anybody walking along the shore between your cottage and the Flatiron?
Yes, I am. I see nobody. Not up to 1:45 anyway. After that, I couldn't swear one way nor t'other.
Did you see any other boat in the neighbourhood?
No, I didn't.
Very well. If your memory should improve in the next few days, you'd better let us know. That's all for now.
Pack of fools. That's what they is, yes, a pack of bloody fools.
Dear Lord Peter, I'm so glad to see you. May I introduce my son, Henry? I wrote asking him to come and help us through this terrible time, and he has most kindly put his own business aside and come to me.
How do you do, Mr. Weldon?
I'm pleased to meet you.
Henry is so delighted that you're here to help us, Lord Peter. That policeman, what's his name, Miss Vane?
Inspector Umple.
Oh, that's it. Well, he's so stupid. Of course, he's a very well-meaning, honest man and most polite, but how can a person like that possibly understand a nature like Paul's? I knew Paul. So did Henry, didn't you, dear?
Oh, yes, certainly. Very pleasant fellow.
You know, don't you, dear, that he never would have taken his own life and left me like that without a word?
There, Mother. You must try to bear up.
Oh, yes, dear. I'm sorry. It's all been such a shock to me. But I mustn't be weak and silly. We must all be courageous and work hard to do something about it.
I say, I rather think a spot of something or other might do us all good.
Excellent idea.
Mr. Weldon, why don't you and I make a concerted masculine raid upon the bar?
Yes. Well, why not? Yes.
We'll instruct the waiter to attend upon you, ladies.
Thank you, Lord Peter. You're very kind.
Of course. Bit of a staggerer for the old lady, this.
Yes, I can imagine.
Takes it hard. Between you and me, it's all for the best. How's a woman of her age going to be happy with a fellow like that, eh? She's 57 and she's a day. Makes a chap look like a bit of a fool when his mother proposes to give him a 20-year-old lounge lizard for a step-papa. All over now, anyway. Suppose the chappie did do himself in, didn't he?
It rather looks like it, yes.
Couldn't face the prospect, eh? All his own fault. You can't trust these foreigners. Like collies. Lick your boots one minute and bite you the next. Don't like collies myself. Give me a good bull terrier any day.
So frightfully British and all that, what?
Thought I'd better push along and cheer Mother up. Stop all this nonsense about the fellow being murdered. Enough to send the old dear clean off a rocky, you know. Once they get those notions in their heads, it's a job to get rid of them. She's taken a notion that you and that Vane girl are encouraging her.
Really?
Now, take it from me, old man. That kind of thing won't do at all.
Won't it?
I see your game, all right. You're nuts on this kind of thing, and it's all a darn good advertisement, and it gives you a jolly good excuse for barging around with a Harriet Vane girl. That's quite all right, but it's not quite the game to go playing my mother up, if you see what I mean. So I thought I'd just give you a hint. You won't take offence?
I'm quite ready to take anything I'm offered.
Eh? Oh, I see. That's good. That's good. What was yours? Martel 3-star. Here, Johnny. Same again with this gentleman.
You misunderstand me.
Oh, come on. Another little spot won't do you any harm.
No, thank you.
No? Well, if you won't, you won't. Well, at least we understand one another now, eh?
I think I understand you perfectly.
Good. Glad to have this chance of putting you wise. Whole thing's a nuisance, of course. Suppose we shall be stuck here now till they found the body. Don't like these beastly watering places. Suits you all right, I dare say. I like a bit more open air and none of the jazz and dinner jackets.
You're quite right.
You think so, eh? Well, I was putting you down for something more in the West End line. But I suppose you're a bit of a sportsman, too. Hunting, fishing, that sort of thing, eh?
I hunted pretty regularly with the Quorn and the Pytchley at one time, and I shoot and fish a bit. Our headquarters is down in Norfolk, Duke's Denver, on the borders of the Fen country.
Oh, yes, of course. I live in that part of the world myself. Huntingdonshire, not far from Ely.
Yeah, I know that part pretty well. Flattish, of course, but uncommonly good sort of soil.
Nothing in farming these days. Look at all this Russian wheat they're dumping in. As if things weren't bad enough already. You're lucky. Takes a man all he can do to get his living off the land these days.
He must be trying to be obliged to leave things and come down to Wilvercombe. How long do you think you'll be here?
Huh? Oh, I don't know. I've left a man in charge, of course.
Just so. Well, hadn't we better get back and join the ladies?
Ladies, eh? You be careful, my boy. Getting to the dangerous age, aren't you? If you ain't careful, you'll find yourself booked one of these days.
I dare say I shall manage to keep my head out of the noose.
Out of the... Oh! I see. The matrimonial news. Very good. That's a good one.
Well, Harriet, what did you make of Mr. Henry Weldon?
His manners are dreadful, and I don't think his brains are much to write home about.
No, that's just it.
Just what?
Well, why is he here? Sudden spasm of filial affection?
His mother thinks so.
Do you think so?
Possibly. Or more likely, he doesn't want to get on the wrong side of her. It's her money, you know.
He's very like her, isn't he?
Very. So much so he gave me an odd feeling at first, as though I'd met him somewhere. I expect he's glad to be relieved of the prospect of Paul Alexis and can't help showing it. He's not very subtle.
I'd like to know why he's trying to drive me out of this place.
How do you mean?
He wants it to be understood that this detecting business is to stop. So much so that he's prepared to spend an indefinite time here hanging around his mother to see that she doesn't make inquiries on her own.
Well, I dare say he has nothing else to do.
Nothing else to do, my dear girl. He's a farmer.
Well?
And this is June.
What about it?
Why ain't he attending to his haymaking?
I didn't think of that.
About the last weeks of the year that any decent farmer would be willing to waste are the weeks from hay to harvest. I can understand his running over for the day, but he seems to be prepared to make a session of it. I think it's deuced funny.
Yes, it is rather funny. But are you casting Henry Weldon in the part of murderer?
I should like to. But I don't feel I can, somehow.
No?
No. I don't think Henry had the brains to have murdered Alexis.
Then who are we left with? Perkins? Havel and Martin? Umplety can't lay his hands on either of them. And in any case, if Martin was drinking in the Feathers at 1:30, we know he can't have been at the Flatiron in time to commit the murder. There's William Bright, of course. Did Salcombe Hardy print the story you fed him?
Yes, and the Gazette's offering a reward for information about the razor. But there's nothing to be done but wait and see whether Bright rises to the bait.
There is one thing I could do, and that's to get Antoine to introduce me to Alexis's former girlfriend. Our Inspector Umplety didn't have much success in getting her to talk.
Try it, Harriet. Try it, light of my life. At this stage, I fear almost anything is worth a try.
Tell me, Monsieur Antoine, you're a person of great experience. Is love, in your opinion, a matter of the first importance?
It is, alas, of great importance, but of the first importance, no. L'amour. These ladies come and dance and want love and think it is happiness, and they tell me about their sorrows. Me! And they have no sorrows at all. Only that they are silly and selfish and lazy. Their husbands are unfaithful and their lovers run away, and what do they say? Do they say, I have 2 hands, 2 feet, all my faculties, I will make a life for myself? No! They say, give me cocaine, give me the cocktail, give me the thrill, give me the gigolo, give me l'amour. Like a mouton bleating in a field.
You're right, Monsieur Antoine. I don't believe l'amour matters so terribly after all.
Oh, no. Mademoiselle knows very well the difference between love which is important and love which is not important. But you must remember that one may have an important love for an unimportant person.
Yes, it's true. Monsieur Antoine, I wondered, that girl that Paul Alexis used to go round with.
Leila Garland?
Yes. Would it be possible for you to put me in touch with her?
Nothing is more simple, mademoiselle. Miss Garland usually joins Mr. De Soto for lunch after the morning concert.
That's Louis De Soto, her latest flame.
That is so, mademoiselle. He is playing at the Winter Gardens. If mademoiselle desires it, I can call for you and accompany you to the Winter Gardens myself. I can introduce you. It will be simpler, so, n'est-ce pas?
Well, Miss Vane, of course Paul Alexis was a terribly nice boy, but he was really too romantic altogether. He was so terribly timid and lonely. But when Louise came along, I realised at once where my affections really lay. I was all the more sorry about it because poor darling Paul...
Yeah, not darling, honey.
Oh, of course not, Louise. Only the poor thing is dead. Anyway, I was sorry because poor Paul seemed to be terribly worried about something. But he didn't confide in me, and, well, what is a girl to do if a man won't confide in her?
How long ago did he start being worried?
Oh, let me see. I think it was about 5 months ago. Yes, it was. I mean, that was when the letters started coming.
Letters?
Yes. Long letters with foreign stamps on them. I think they came from Czechoslovakia or one of those queer places. It wasn't Russia, anyway, because I asked him and he said no.
Miss Garland, have you told anybody else about these letters?
No. Well, you see, Paul always said it would do him harm to have them mentioned. He said the Bolsheviks would kill him if anything got out. But I don't believe it was the Bolsheviks at all.
No, it doesn't seem likely, does it, honey?
No, Louise, it was just stupid, him expecting me to swallow that.
But I really think in your place, Miss Garland, I'd have felt justified in finding out who the letters were from.
Oh, well, as a matter of fact, Miss Vane, I did take a tiny peep once. I thought I owed it to myself. But they were all nonsense. You couldn't make out a word of them.
Were they in a foreign language?
Well, I don't know. They were all in printing letters, and some of the words hadn't any vowels in them at all. You couldn't possibly pronounce them.
It sounds like a cipher.
Yes, Antoine, that's what I thought.
How often did they come?
Oh, about once a week, sometimes oftener. He kept them locked up in a little box. He used to answer them, too. Sometimes when I went round to see him, he'd have his door locked, and old Marla Frank, his landlady, said he was writing letters and wasn't to be disturbed. Well, that wasn't the kind of thing you could expect a girl to put up with.
No, of course you couldn't, baby.
Haven't you told the police about these letters?
No, I have not. I don't say I mightn't have told them if they'd asked properly. With the way that fat unputty went on, you'd have thought I wasn't a respectable girl. So I said to him, I know nothing about it, and you can't make me answer your silly questions unless you take me down to your dirty old police station and charge me. That's what I said. And it's a good thing there's a law in this country to protect girls like I.
Ain't she the snail's ankles, eh? Yeah. And now, if you'll excuse me, lovelies, I have a rehearsal, 2 o'clock. As always, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2 o'clock without fail.
Yes?
Mrs. Lefranc?
Yes.
Good morning. I'm looking for a room.
Professional, dearie?
No, I write books. In fact, Mrs. Lefranc, I'm the person who found poor Mr. Alexis last week.
Oh.
I've been staying at the Resplendent, but it's terribly expensive. And I thought if your room is still vacant, I might be able to take it.
Well, you better come along in. Excuse me, negligee, won't you? I don't get time to posh myself up of a morning. How long will you be wanting the room for?
I don't quite know. It depends on when they find the body.
Oh, yes. They've got to find him first, poor lamb, ain't they? You'd better come up and see the room. There, dearie. I'm sure you couldn't find better in Wilvercombe. And it's nice and quiet. You'll be able to do your writing beautiful.
It's a very pleasant room, Mrs. Lefranc.
Well, I've had it all cleaned up. And if you was to dislike his books and bits and things, I could easily put 'em on one side. But there, I dare say you wouldn't mind 'em. It's not as if he died in this room, is it, poor soul? And I'm sure there's nothing infectious in them books, for he never was subject to any complaint, enjoying good health as a rule, barring the pain in his joints, which he had to lay up for at times, and the amount of antipyrin he took for it would surprise you, and he never would see a doctor.
What are your terms, Mrs. Lefranc?
2.5 guineas a week inclusive, or 12 shillings and find yourself. And it's not everybody I'd do that for. Only I can see you're one of the quiet sort. If there's one thing I don't want in my house, it's trouble. I'm sure all this dreadful business is trouble enough. Oh, dear. I was that fond of poor Mr. Alexis.
I'm sure you must have been.
Such a thoughtful boy, and the manners of a prince he had.
What about Mr. Alexis and that girl of his, Layla Garland? Were they very close?
What there might be between them two, I couldn't tell you, dearie. But I must say I wasn't sorry when that little cat took herself off. You're well rid of her, I said. That's what I said, and if you asked me, he knew it well enough.
You don't think he killed himself on her account, then?
No. Oh, I've thought about it over and over again, and I'll tell you what I think. I think it was his speculations that went wrong.
Speculations?
Yes, those speculations of his in foreign countries. The letters he used to get. He used to say, Ma, when my ship comes in, I'll give you a tiara stuck full of diamonds and make you housekeeper to royalty.
When did the last of these letters arrive?
Well, dearie, there was one of them. It came 2 days before this dreadful thing happened. It must have been a long one, for he was shut up hours and hours with it. I heard him about in his room all night, burning his papers he was, and in the morning he gave me his week's money. Poor Mr. Alexis. There. Life's a funny thing, and you can't account for it, can you? There, then. Well, when was you wanting to take the room, dearie?
I'll be coming in tonight. I don't know whether I'll want my board or not, but if I leave my suitcase and pay you the 12 shillings for the room in advance, that'll be all right, won't it?
That's okay, dearie. Just you come when you like. You'll be happy with Marla Frank. Oh, I only wish poor Mr. Alexis had told me all his worries. He'd be here now. But he was a foreigner when all's said and done, and they aren't like us, are they? Mind that dustpan, dearie, all the number of times I've told that girl not to leave it there.
And as for Pollock, my lord, he's nothing but an old scoundrel. And the worst of it is, you can't believe a word he says. I'd like to know what he was really up to.
Murdering Paul Alexis, maybe. Or conveying the murderer to the scene of the crime for a consideration. That's more likely, really, wouldn't you say, Inspector?
Always supposing there was a murderer, my lord.
Well, this business of the cipher letters makes it look more like murder, which is one up to us.
What about Mrs. Lefranc's idea about speculations?
I don't know. It's perfectly obvious that Alexis had some scheme in hand, that it may be that the scheme went wrong. Is it an accident that Alexis should have been killed just as his plans were maturing?
What about Haviland Martin? Have we decided he was all the innocent camper?
Well, it's quite clear he didn't leave the Three Feathers before 1:30, which rules out any chance that he could have been at the Flatiron by 2. I had a look round his campsite at Hinks Lane.
Oh? Find anything, my lord?
Oh, not really. Usual campsite rubbish. There was just one curious thing, though. There was a piece of thinnish rope in among the ashes of the fire. Only about 3 inches of it left. Can't quite make out whether it's of any significance.
Do we know yet whether Haviland Martin actually spent the Thursday morning in Wilvercombe?
I can't say for sure, but it seems likely. He told the landlord of the Feathers that his car had broken down and a woman had given him a lift. We checked up at the local garage afterwards, and it's right enough. Martin went into the garage about 3 o'clock, and the mechanic went with him to his Morgan, which was refusing to start. Something wrong with the HT lead, apparently. They soon had it going again.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, what is it, Rushwaldy?
Telephone message, sir, for Lord Peter. It's from a Mr. Salcombe Hardy at the Bellevue Hotel. I ask you to come over right away, my lord. It seems there's a gentleman waiting to see you urgent. Name of Bright.
Aha! Inspector, I hope you and Miss Vane will excuse me. I'll report back to you immediately afterwards.
Ah, Wimsey.
Hello, Sally.
This is Mr. Bright.
Delighted to meet you, Mr. Bright.
He won't come across with his story to anybody but you, Wimsey. Though I've explained to him, if he's thinking of claiming the Gazette's reward, he'll have to let me in on it.
Well, I suppose that's only fair, Mr. Hardy, and I can assure you that the money is a consideration. But I'm in a painful position, though I haven't done any willful harm.
I suppose we begin from the beginning. Now, about this razor. By the way, your full name is...
William Bright, my lord.
Aha.
Well, my lord, I am, as you might say, an itinerant hairdresser. I go from one place to the other, especially seaside towns during the season, and take temporary posts.
Where did you work last?
Oh, I haven't had anything, really, for a long time. I tried to get work in Seahampton. In fact, I'm still trying. I went back there last Wednesday after trying Wilvercombe and Leston Hoe. I got the razor in Seahampton from the place where I tried to get work. Merriweather, the name was. I needed a new razor, and he was willing to sell this one cheap.
You'd better describe the razor.
Yes, sir. It was a Sheffield blade with a white handle, and it came originally from a retailer in Jermyn Street. Endicott, I think the name was on the handle. It was a good razor, but a bit worn. Well, after going to Leston Hoe, I came back to Wilvercombe, but there was no work in Wilvercombe either, and I grew very low in spirits.
When did you arrive back in Wilvercombe?
Last Monday week, my lord. On the Tuesday night, I went down to the sea, just over there at the end of the town, and sat on a seat to think things over. It was getting on for midnight. I looked at the sea, and I felt the razor in my pocket, and I wondered whether it was worthwhile struggling on. There was the sea, and there was the razor. And the sea, washing up against the wall of the esplanade, it seemed to be calling to me, if you can understand what I mean. It sounded as if it was saying, "Chuck it. Chuck it up, William Bright." Fascinating and frightening at the same time. Well, I sat there for a bit, trying to make up my mind, when I heard somebody walking along, and presently this young fellow came and sat down on the seat beside me.
What did he look like?
He was in evening dress, I remember, with an overcoat and a soft hat. He had a black beard. Well, he offered me a cigarette, and we got into conversation. I remember it was one of those Russian cigarettes with a paper tube to it. He spoke friendly, and I don't know how it was, but I found myself telling him all about the fix I was in, what with no work and everything. And then he said he only wished his difficulties could be solved as easy as mine, and how I ought to pull myself together and make a fresh start. You give me that razor, he said, and go away and think it over.
And you gave it to him?
He gave me some money, £5 it was in Treasury notes, and I gave him the razor. And that's the last I saw of him.
Well, it certainly sounds like Paul Alexis.
Mr. Hardy, about the reward...
Well, it all sounds okay to me, but we'll have to check up on your story, you know, old man. You might have invented it. But if the cops can prove what you say about yourself, it's their business, really. Then there'll be a good, fat cheque for you that ought to keep you going for some time.
It seems to me, my lord, that this man Bright's story makes sense one way and another. Despite the various loose ends, I must say it rather makes it look like suicide after all, don't it?
I suppose I ought to be satisfied. The only thing that worries me, Umplety, is that if I'd wanted to invent a story to fit this case, that is exactly the story I should have invented. I wonder where Mr. Bright was at 2 o'clock on Thursday afternoon.
Oh, you're determined and no mistake, my lord, if you don't mind me saying so.
Have you got a copy of the tide tables for Wolvercombe?
Yeah, should be somewhere here. Let me see. Yes. Here you are, my lord.
Thank you. Now, I thought so. I thought so.
What is it, my lord?
Bright described how the tide, lapping against the esplanade, seemed to call to him in a very convincing and poetic manner. That was on Tuesday around midnight. But at midnight on Tuesday the 16th of June, the tide could not have been lapping against the esplanade. It was at the extreme bottom of the ebb.
In that episode of Have His Carcase, the parts were played as follows. Lord Peter Wimsey, Ian Carmichael. Harriet Vane, Maria Aitken. Inspector Umplety, Nigel Stock. Henry Weldon, Warren Clark. Mrs. Weldon, Isabel Dean. Mrs. Lefranc, Betty Marsden. Mr. Bright, Norman Bird. Antoine, Malcolm Ingram. Salcombe Hardy, Patrick Newell. Leila Garland, Rosalind Ayres. Pollock, Peter Tuddenham. Luis de Soto, Hayden Wood. Narrator, John Westbrook. Have His Carcase was adapted by Alistair Beaton from the book by Dorothy L. Sayers and was produced by Martin Fisher.
We present Ian Carmichael as Lord Peter Wimsey in Have His Carcase by Dorothy L. Sayers, adapted for radio by Alistair Beaton, with Maria Aitken as Harriet Vane and Nigel Stock as Inspector Umplety. Episode 4, The Snake in the Grass.
In the breakfast room of the Hotel Bellevue in Wolvercombe, Lord Peter Wimsey was lingering lovingly over his bacon and eggs, so as to leave no restless and unfulfilled moment in his morning. His absorption in the simple pleasures of breakfast was perhaps in some way compensation for the singular difficulty presented by a murder case in which the body had been washed out to sea and the two principal suspects had succeeded in disappearing without trace. Neither Julian Perkins nor Haviland Martin, both seen by Harriet near the scene of the crime, had been found since the day that Paul Alexis died. As for Lord Peter's success in tracing the origin of the razor found near the body, this achievement was outweighed by William Bright's cast-iron alibi, an alibi that had not in any important respect been broken, by the revelation that Bright's story was not the whole truth. The police still favoured the view that they were dealing with a case of suicide. But this view was about to be shaken by the discovery of a clear motive for the killing.
Ah, there you are, my lord. I found you at last.
All right, Inspector. It's a fair cop.
I just wanted to tell you the latest, my lord. I thought you'd like to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
It's given us something to think about, I don't mind telling you.
Has it? You look quite agitated. I expect you're out of practice.
Now, look here. You remember about Paul Alexis's banking account and the £300?
Sure thing.
Well, we've found out what he did with it.
What did he do with it? Well, go on. Don't keep me in such ghastly suspense.
He went and turned it into gold.
Into what?
300 gold sovereigns. 300 round, golden, Jimmy-O goblins.
Well, Inspector, I always knew there were one or two oddities about this case, but I don't mind admitting that this beats me.
It's my opinion Alexis meant to get away, and he took the gold because it's the only form of money that'll pass everywhere and tell no tale.
True. Do you know, I think you're right, Inspector. But I say you realise this knocks the suicide theory on the head, all right?
It's beginning to look like it, my lord. We've got a much better motive for a murder than we had before.
Suppose Paul Alexis had hired old Pollock to meet him somewhere offshore with his boat and take him across to a yacht or something.
That's right. After all, it's possible that Alexis was wanting to leave the country.
Now, suppose in paying Pollock, Alexis had happened to show him the rest of the money. Couldn't Pollock have put him ashore and cut his throat for him and made away with the gold?
But why put him ashore? Wouldn't it have been easier to cut his throat aboard the boat and drop the body into the sea?
No, it wouldn't.
Huh?
Ever reckoned how much blood there was to the job? If Pollock had cut Alexis's throat on board, it would take a devil of a lot of swabbing to get the boat properly clean again.
That's quite true, my lord.
No, it is my belief the man was killed in the place where he was found. Murder or no murder? The question is, did the murderer come by sea, or did he come along the beach? What story, I wonder, does the beach have to tell? Now, Harriet, let us list our discoveries so far. 1 boot, hobnailed and frightfully ancient.
1 empty sardine can.
2 broken bottles. 1 sodden goldflake packet.
Approximately half a Bible.
Do murderers read the Bible?
And 1 dead starfish.
Alas, poor fish.
Not very promising, is it?
Let's look further on. Over there, where it starts to get more shingly.
Oh, all right. Hello. Peter, look at this.
Aha, we are interested. Extremely interested.
It ought to mean good luck, anyway.
If you're holding it wrong way up, all the luck will drop out if you're not careful. And a black day it will be for somebody. Hand it over. It's a new shoe, and it hasn't been there very long. Perhaps a week, perhaps a little more. Belongs to a nice little cob, about 14 hands. Pretty little animal, fairly well bred. Rather given to kicking her shoes off. Pecks a little with the off-fall.
Holmes, this is wonderful. How do you do it?
Perfectly simple, my dear Watson. The shoe hasn't been worn thin by the ammer on the Ard-Eye Road, therefore it's reasonably new.
Can't you go on and tell the sex and colour while you're about it?
I'm afraid even I have my limitations, dear Watson.
Nonetheless, quite a pretty little piece of deduction. Peter, were you looking for a horseshoe?
No, I was expecting the horse. But the shoe is a piece of pure, gorgeous luck.
And observation. I found it.
You did, and I could kiss you for it. Let's make our way to Darley. I seem to recall that there were horses in the field next to where our Mr. Martin was camping. It'll be extremely interesting if one of them should be missing a shoe. Shall we go?
Look, up here, Peter. There's been a gap in the hedge. Recently mended by the look of it.
Indeed. With 2 new stakes and a bunch of dead thorns shoved in and secured with wire. Well, let's test my theory, shall we? Here, we'll scramble up this bank and have a look over the top.
Right.
Yes, there's Martin's camping spot, just there. And 1, 2, 3 horses, no less.
Look how nicely those trees screen it from the road and the village.
Yes, a pleasant private spot for horse stealing, what? Hello, there's another gap a bit further down, which has been filled in a workmanlike manner with posts and a rail. Let's go and have a look at that. Ah, yes, indeed. And what could be better? So, we climb the rail, and we are in the field. Permit me.
No, thank you. I can manage.
Yeah, good. Now then, which animal will you put your money on?
Not the black. He looks too big and heavy.
Well, not the black, certainly. The jolly little bay cob rather takes my fancy. Come along, old girl. There we are. Now there. There we are. There's a beautiful gal. Let's have a look at that hoof, shall we? Look at it.
New shoe.
Better make sure they haven't made an all-round job of it. Come along. Easy does it, easy does it. Let's have a look at this one. Thank you. Now the back. Steady, steady, steady. There's a good girl. And the other one. And there we have it. Old shoes on 3 feet and new shoe on off 4. Corresponding exactly to the specimen picked up on the beach. The bay mare brings home the bacon, all right?
Now, we've checked up on this man Bright's story, and it seems to add up. We've established that he did come to Wilvercombe as and when he claims, and he's now living peacefully in a cheap room in town without showing the least sign of wanting to disappear.
Well, that sounds satisfactory. Have we established what his movements were on the day of Alexis's death?
Yes, my lord. He was taken on by an hairdresser in Seahampton, name of Littleton. Apart from an hour off for lunch between 1 and 2, Bright was working in the saloon all day. The proprietor then decided that his work wasn't good enough and he paid him off at the end of the day.
Well, it's perfectly clear that nothing short of a magic carpet could have transported Bright 40 miles to the Flatiron and back in order to commit a murder at 2 o'clock. Whatever part Bright plays in this tragedy, it is not that of first murderer.
We've also succeeded in having a little look at old Pollock's boat, my lord.
Have you, Bijo? How did you manage that? I didn't think old Pollock was likely to be so cooperative.
Well, we did it surreptitious-like. I sent a young constable down to have a look around. He managed to examine old Pollock's boat pretty thoroughly, using a flashlight. No sign of bloodstains or anything there, my lord. Nor yet any sign of the boat having been scrubbed recent.
Let's consider our friend Haviland Martin again. He interests me rather more than Bright or Pollock.
Yes, my lord, I've been wondering about him since you told me about the horseshoe on the beach. I mean, if Martin really rode that mare from his camping site to the beach, does that mean he could have committed the murder?
Well, Umplety, it all looks so good, but it won't work. You see the idea? Here's Martin. He arranges for Alexis to be at the Flatiron at 2 o'clock. I don't know how, but he works it somehow. At 1:30 he leaves the Feathers, goes back to his campsite, gets the mare and rides along the shore.
Riding along the edge of the water so as to leave no mark.
Exactly. He tethers the mare to the ring that he's driven into the rock. He kills Alexis and rides back in a deuce of a hurry. In crossing the rough pebbles below Pollock's cottage, the mare casts a shoe. When he gets back, he doesn't return the mare to the field, but he lets it run. Like that, it looks as though she broke out of the field on her own and will easily explain the gap in the hedge.
Also, if the horse gets found all blown and sweaty, it'll appear perfectly natural.
Right. He's back at 3 o'clock, in time to go round to the garage about his car. At some subsequent period, he burns the halter he has used, but leaves a small bit of it in the fire, which I found later. It's all so convincing, so neat. And yet it is all so wrong.
Why, my lord?
The time's too tight, for one thing. He left the inn at 1:30, we know that. After that, he had to get back to his campsite, catch the mare, and ride 4.5 miles. We can't very well align to do more than 8 miles an hour under the conditions, yet at 2 o'clock, Miss Vane hears the screams of Alexis being murdered.
Oh, it's exasperating. If we put the murder too early, Evelyn Martin wouldn't have had time to get there. And if we put it too late, he wouldn't have had time to get away. It's maddening.
One other point occurred to me, Inspector. Alexis's passport. I suppose we've already...
Oh, I trust your lordship doesn't imagine we would overlook such an obvious point. Yes, Alexis did have a passport, and what's more, he had it visaed within the last month.
How do you know? Wherefore?
For France, to be sure.
Well, that offers some support for the theory that our young friend intended to flit, what?
No, I don't mind admitting, my lord, that I'm coming round to your way of thinking. Here's a man with what I might call a purpose in view, and that purpose isn't suicide. And he had £300 in gold on him, and there's plenty as would do murder for less than that. At least we're supposing he had it on him. We can't tell till we find the body.
Do you know, I feel inspired to make a prophecy. I think you'll find that Alexis was murdered, all right, but not for the sake of the money. I mean, not for the £300.
Why do you think that, my lord?
Because you haven't found the body.
You don't mean that somebody came and took the body away? What should they want to do that for?
What indeed? If my idea is the right one, that's the last thing they would want to do. They'd want the body found.
Eh? Why?
Because the murder was not committed for the £300 in gold.
But you said that was why the body wasn't found.
So it is.
Oh. Let me see.
Try it in rhyme, Inspector. Why did they want the body found? They didn't want £300. They didn't want £300. That's why the body wasn't found.
Very good, my lord. Oh, you're quite a poet. Yeah, I must write that down.
You have my permission to recite it at your next police concert. No fee.
You will have your joke, my lord. Now, how did it go?
Good afternoon, Smithy.
Good afternoon, sir. Fine day, sir.
It is indeed.
Now, turn the shoe round now, Jod.
Right. That's it.
Yes, they'll get the hay in all right if this weather lasts. Not so much of this kind of work about as there used to be, I expect.
I recollect when there wasn't none of these multi-cars. Only the one Squire Goodrich had. What year would that be now? Mafeking year. So it were.
I can remember when my father kept 23 horses. Not counting the farm stock, of course.
That'd be a big place, sir.
Yes, it was a big place. It was a treat for us kids to go down to the smithy and see them shod. I still know a good bit of work when I see one. I picked up this cast shoe on the beach. Off 4. Nice little well-bred cob, about 14 hands, I shouldn't wonder. Kicks her shoes off and pecks a bit on this foot. Is that right?
That's right enough. A bay cob. That belongs to Mr. Newcombe. I should know it.
Your work?
Certain sure.
Yes, our work, to be sure.
Not been lying about very long, either.
No. What day were it that Mr. Newcombe found the mare loose, Jod?
No. Friday it were, that's when it were, Friday morning.
To be sure, so it were. If you'st asked me, Mr. Newcombe did ought to have mended that gap in the edge, then there wouldn't have been no trouble, would there?
Right.
Well, I dare say that's true. Well, I'm most grateful to you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon.
Really, Harriet, every character seems more suspicious than the last.
What I'd like to know most of all is what became of Perkins.
Yes, I wish the police would get onto him. Let's think, what do we know about him?
Personal characteristics. Small, weakish, round-shouldered, walked with a limp, dressed as a hiker. Appeared to be of timid disposition.
Met Harriet Vane on road at 4:15, about 1.5 miles from the flat iron and 3 miles from Darley. Said he'd walked from Wilvercombe.
On hearing about the body, turned back and accompanied me, ostensibly to protect me. But was about as useful as a raincoat under machine gun fire.
Disappeared mysteriously while Harriet Vane was telephoning the police about the body. Is then known to have taken car to Wilvercombe Station and is now undiscoverable. I really believe I've never known a case so damnably confusing. Perkins, who has no alibi, disappears. Evelyn Martin, who does have an alibi, also disappears. And William Bright, having at first disappeared, now reappears with a cock and bull story about the state of the tides and an alibi that is as cast iron as the horseshoe we found on the beach. Too many alibis, Harriet. Too many alibis and too many suspects.
Peter, Have you ever considered this?
What?
Harriet Vane, murder suspect.
Oh, really?
No, listen. Personal characteristics. Once tried for the murder of her lover and acquitted by the skin of her teeth. Says she found Alexis dead at 2:10, but can bring no evidence to prove that she did not see him alive. Took 3 hours to walk 4.5 miles to inform the police. Is the sole witness to the finding of the razor, the time of the death, and the conditions of the flatiron. Was immediately suspected by Perkins and is probably still suspected by the police.
Nonsense, Harriet. I really...
Who have been searching her room.
Have they, Bedrove?
Yes. Don't look like that. They couldn't very well do anything else, could they?
I'll have something to say to Umplety.
No, you can spare me that.
But it's absurd.
It is not. Do you think I'm witless? Do you think I don't know why you came galloping down here at 5 minutes' notice? Of course, it's very nice of you, and I ought to be grateful, but do you think I like it? You thought I was pretty brazen, I expect, when you found me getting publicity out of the thing. So I was. There's no choice for a person like me to be anything but brazen. I can't hide my name. It's what I live by. If I did hide it, that would only be another suspicious circumstance, wouldn't it? But do you think it makes matters any more agreeable to know that it is only the patronage of Lord Peter Wimsey that prevent men like Umplety from being openly hostile?
I've been afraid of this.
Then why did you come?
So that you might not have to send for me.
Oh. Now, of course, everybody will say, look what he's doing for that woman. Isn't it marvellous of him? I suppose every man thinks he's only to go on being superior, and any woman will come tumbling into his arms. It's disgusting.
Thank you. I may be everything you say. Patronising, interfering, conceited, intolerable, and all the rest of it. But do give me credit for a little intelligence. Do you think I don't know all that? Do you think it's pleasant for any man who feels about a woman as I do about you to have to fight his way along under this detestable burden of gratitude? Damn it, do you think I don't know perfectly well that I'd have a better chance if I was deaf, blind, maimed, starving, drunk, or dissolute, so that you could have the fun of being magnanimous? Why do you think I treat my own sincerest feelings like something out of a comic opera, if it isn't to save myself the bitter humiliation of seeing you try not to be utterly nauseated by them?
Oh, don't talk like that.
I wouldn't if you didn't force me to. And you might have the justice to remember that you can hurt me a damn sight more than I could possibly hurt you.
I know I'm being horribly ungrateful.
Grateful? Good God, am I never to get away from the bleat of that filthy adjective? I don't want gratitude. I don't want kindness. I don't want sentimentality. I don't even want love. I could make you give me that, of a sort. I want common honesty.
Do you? But that's what I've always wanted. I don't think it's to be got.
All right, I can respect that. Only you have got to play the game. Don't force an emotional situation and then blame me for it.
But I don't want any situation. I want to be left in peace.
But you're not a peaceful person.
Perhaps not, but all this is so dreary and exhausting.
Call me anything you like, but not dreary. Great Scott, have I been boring you interminably for 18 months on end? I know you once said that if anybody ever married me, it would be for the sake of hearing me piffle on. But I expect that kind of thing palls after a bit. I'm babbling, I know I'm babbling. What on earth am I to do about it?
Oh, it's not fair. You always make me laugh. I can't fight. I'm so tired. You don't seem to know what being tired is. Stop. Let go. I won't be bullied, Peter. I won't be bullied. And now, if you'll excuse me, I must make myself ready for an appointment.
I am crazed with jealousy. Who is the fortunate man?
Henry Weldon.
Henry Weldon?
Yes, he's invited me out in his car for a picnic, and I accepted.
Why ever did you do that?
Because the man believes he has a way with the ladies. I intend to prove him wrong, and at the same time see what information I may be able to extract from him.
Your dedication to this case, Harriet, is overwhelming.
Damn cows! Get out of the way, go on!
I say, Mr. Weldon, I'm afraid this speed makes me rather nervous.
What's that? No need to be nervous. No point in these damn machines if you don't make a move. Not like a horse, no life in them. Only useful for getting from one place to another. You don't catch me motoring for pleasure. I like fresh air. Used to breed G's once. The bottom's dropped out of the market. Damn shame.
I quite agree. I'm very fond of horses myself. I think life on a farm must be wonderful.
All right, if you don't have to make it pay.
I suppose it is rather hard nowadays.
Damned hard. Not that I have a lot to grumble at as things go.
No, I'm glad of that. I mean, it's nice for you to be able to leave your work and come down here. I suppose a really well-managed farm runs itself, so to speak.
Well, as a matter of fact, Miss Vane, it's a beastly nuisance coming down here. What can one do? Couldn't leave my mother all by herself in this hole.
No, of course not. I think it's splendid of you to come and stand by her. And besides, well, I mean, it makes such a difference to have somebody really nice to talk to.
Jolly of you to say that.
I mean, it must make all the difference to your mother.
Not to you, eh? Dukes and lords are good enough for you.
Oh, if you mean Lord Peter, he's all right, of course, but he's a little... you know what I mean.
La-di-da. What's he want to wear that silly thing in his eye for?
That's just what I feel. It isn't manly, is it?
Lot of affected nonsense. Take that fellow away from his valet and his car and his evening togs, and where'd he be? Thinks he can ride because he's potted round with a fashionable hunt, trampling down people's crops and leaving gates open. Oh, but I don't want to be rude to a friend of yours. I say, what's he after down here?
Well, he says he's interested in this crime, or whatever it is.
But you know better, eh? Listen, Miss Vane, I wish you'd do something for me, eh?
Of course, I'll do anything I could.
That's nice of you. Do persuade this Wimsey fellow to drop it.
I don't know if I shall be able to persuade him. I'll do my best. But he doesn't like taking advice. You know what men are.
I bet you know all right. I don't suppose there's much you don't know, by Jove.
Don't drive with one hand like that. Suppose anything came along suddenly.
That's all right. I'll look after you, don't you worry. And you look after me, eh? Alliance. Defensive and offensive. Just between you and me, eh?
Oh, rather.
That's fine. And when all this stupid business is over, you must come and look Mother and me up. She's taken a great fancy to you. Get her to bring you along to my place. You'd like it. What about it?
That would be lovely. One gets so tired of the kind of men one meets in London and the stuffy, restricted, literary kind of surroundings. I don't suppose you ever come to London, Mr. Weldon?
Not often. Though, of course, I'd come and call on you like a shot. Some inducement, eh? Where do you live?
I've got a little flat in Bloomsbury.
All on your own?
Yes.
Isn't that a bit lonesome?
Well, of course, I have plenty of friends. And a woman who comes in for the day. I could give you tea if you cared to come along sometime to cheer me up.
That would be sweet of you. We can go and do a show together or something. Pretty, eh? I'll bring the picnic basket. Why don't we eat down by that stream over there? Looks all right to me, eh? What about a few more strawberries, eh? Look, there's some cream left, too.
No, thank you, Mr. Weldon. I couldn't eat another thing.
Good, wasn't it, eh? You're a very attractive woman. You know that, Miss Vane?
You mustn't talk like that.
Mustn't I? Can't help it. There's something about you know that?
Mr. Weldon, please. No, don't do that.
Damn it. You might let a fellow kiss you.
No, let go, do you hear? I said that... Oh!
What's the matter with you, eh?
I want to leave. Now.
What set you off like that?
It wasn't you. I saw a snake.
A snake? Where?
It's gone now. I think it was a viper.
I didn't see any snake. Don't know what you're so upset about.
I want to go back.
Oh, all right. Wait a bit till I collect the picnic things together. Funny way to behave, I must say.
Well, how did it all go? Hello, what's the matter?
Oh, Peter, thank heavens you're here.
Here, I say, hold up. It's all right, you know. At least it is all right, isn't it? Hold on, let me close the door. Now then, my dear, what's happened? You're all of a doodah.
Peter, I believe I've been kissed by a murderer.
Have you? Well, it serves you right for letting anybody kiss you but me.
Well, he didn't actually kiss me. He only hugged me.
Now, settle down and tell me who this low-down, bone-headed, bird-witted, dissipated murderer is, who can't even keep his mind on his murdering but rushes about the countryside embracing and hugging females that don't belong to him.
Very well. Prepare for a shock. It was Haviland Martin.
Haviland Martin?
Haviland Martin.
You win. I am astonished. I am thunderstruck. Kindly explain yourself. I thought you were out this afternoon with Mr. Henry Weldon.
I was.
Am I to understand that Haviland Martin is a friend of Henry Weldon's?
No. Haviland Martin is Henry Weldon.
In that episode of Have His Carcase, the parts were played as follows. Lord Peter Wimsey, Ian Carmichael, Harriet Vane, Maria Aitken, Inspector Umplety, Nigel Stock, Henry Weldon, Warren Clark, Blacksmith, Ronald Herdman, Judd, Spencer Banks, narrator John Westbrook. Have His Carcase was adapted by Alistair Beaton from the book by Dorothy L. Sayers and was produced by Martin Fisher.
We present Ian Carmichael as Lord Peter Wimsey in Have His Carcase by Dorothy L. Sayers, adapted for radio by Alistair Beaton, with Maria Aitken as Harriet Vane and Nigel Stock as Inspector Umplety. Episode 5, Too Perfect an Alibi.
Lord Peter Wimsey, that wayward sprig of the nobility, had not been idle. He had, in fact, been hanging around the police station a great deal, bothering the inspector. This allowed him at least to corroborate the story of William Bright, the man who claimed to have sold the razor with which Paul Alexis met his death. Wimsey's investigations, however, had not progressed much beyond that. Neither Julian Perkins nor Haviland Martin, both seen by Harriet Vane near the scene of the crime, had been traced by the police. Depressed by the complexity of the case and sceptical of rumours about Bolshevik plots, Lord Peter took himself to his less than comfortable rooms at the Bellevue Hotel in Wilvercombe. Here he sat morosely and pondered the wisdom of Harriet's plan to spend the afternoon with Henry Weldon. In point of fact, Harriet's outing with Weldon had produced a latent strain of sweet womanliness which would have surprised Wimsey. Dressed in a slinky garment composed of what male writers call some soft, clinging material, she had made a most startling impact on the blustering Mr. Weldon, with a result more startling than either she or Lord Peter had bargained for.
Peter, I believe I've been kissed by a murderer.
Have you? Well, it serves you right for letting anybody kiss you but me.
He didn't actually kiss me. He only hugged me.
Now sit down, and tell me who this low-down, bone-headed, bird-witted, dissipated murderer is, who can't even keep his mind on his murdering, but rushes about the countryside embracing females that don't belong to him.
Very well. Prepare for a shock. It was Haviland Martin.
Haviland Martin?
Haviland Martin.
You win. I am astonished. I am thunderstruck. Kindly explain yourself. I thought you were out this afternoon with Mr. Henry Weldon.
I was.
Am I to understand that Haviland Martin is a friend of Henry Weldon's?
No. Haviland Martin is Henry Weldon.
Good Lord. You have been wallowing in the embraces of Henry Weldon?
Well, only in the interests of justice. Besides, I boxed his ears. I was sort of wriggling, because I didn't want him to actually kiss me. And I looked down and saw his arm. It was round my waist, you understand.
Yes, I grasped that.
And I saw a snake tattooed all the way up his arm, just as it was on Martin's. And then I suddenly remembered how his face had seemed kind of familiar when I first saw Weldon. And then I realised who he was. Weldon really is Martin. I'm sure of it, Peter. The hair's different, of course, but I think he must have dyed it.
Well, if Weldon is Martin, there's undoubtedly some funny business somewhere. But, Harriet, do put it out of your mind that he's the murderer. We've proved that Martin couldn't possibly have done it. He couldn't get to the place in time. Had you forgotten that?
Yes, I believe I had forgotten it. It seems so obvious that if he was there at Darley in disguise, he must have been up to something or other.
Well, of course he was up to something or other. Something to do with the bay mare, that's a certainty. But what? What was the point of the bay mare at all when we know she couldn't have got him to the Flatiron in time to commit the murder? Oh, it beats me, Harriet. It beats me.
So it does me.
Well, there's only one thing to do.
What's that?
Ask him.
Ask him?
Yes, we'll ask him. Don't worry, we'll turn friend Henry inside out before we've done with him. I'll just pop round to the Resplendent now and see that he hasn't taken alarm. I think you've earned a little rest, don't you?
Hello, Wimsey. Care for a drink?
No, thank you, Weldon. You gave Miss Vane quite a turn this afternoon.
Oh, did I? Well, I don't see why you need to come butting in.
I wasn't referring to your manners, though I admit they are a bit startling. Why didn't you mention that you and she had met before?
Met before? For the very simple reason that we never met before.
Oh, come, Weldon. How about last Thursday afternoon at the top of Hinks Lane? If you want to go about the country incognito, you ought to get rid of that pattern on your arm. Re-tattooing in flesh colour is the simplest method, I believe.
Ah, so that's what the little hussy meant when she said she'd seen a snake. Smart girl, that Wimsey. Fancy her spotting that.
Manners, please. You will kindly refer to Miss Vane in a proper way and spare me the boring nuisance of pushing your teeth out of the back of your neck.
Oh, all right. Just as you like. Well, I'd like to see you try.
You wouldn't see it. It would happen, that's all. But I've no time to waste in comparative physiology. I want to know what you were doing in Darley in disguise on the day of Alexis's death.
I see. You want to fix something on me. Well, just as it so happens, you can't. It's a fact that I came down here in another name. Why shouldn't I? I didn't want my mother to know I was here.
Why?
Well, you see, I didn't like this Alexis business at all. There's no harm in admitting that. I wanted to find out what was happening. If this marriage was really going through, I wanted to stop it. I didn't want to frighten Alexis off and have a row with my mother and get cut off without a shilling. My idea was to snoop around and get hold of the young blighter and buy him off privately.
You'd have needed some cash to do that.
I don't know about that. I'd heard some stories about a girl down here that Alexis was involved with, and of course if my mother was to know about that, I would...
Ah, yes. A qualified form of blackmail. I'm beginning to see the idea. But why Darley?
Because I didn't want to run into the old lady in Wilvercombe. A pair of specs and a bottle of hair dye might be all right for the yokels, but to the sharp eye of mother love, you understand, they might not be as impenetrable as a brick wall.
Quite so. Was it really necessary to hire a car with all that parade of secrecy?
It was, because my mother would have recognized my own bus. It's rather an unusual colour.
You seem to have thought it all out very well. Did you give your own name at the garage?
I could have, but I didn't. To be perfectly frank, well, I don't mind saying that I had another name and address ready to slip into. Sometimes I slip off to Cambridge on the quiet sea to visit a lady there. You get me? Husband in the background somewhere, won't divorce her. It suits me all right like that. Only there again, if my mother got to hear about it, the inheritance, if you take my meaning. Well, we're right as rain in Cambridge. Mr. and Mrs. Haviland Martin, all perfectly respectable and all that. And it's easy enough to slip over when one wants a spot of domestic bliss and so on. You get me?
I get you.
Well, look here. I came along to Darley on Tuesday evening and got permission to camp in Hinks Lane. I loafed around on Wednesday morning. Then in the afternoon I went round to Alexis's digs and tried to pump his landlady. But she wasn't having any. However, I got talking with a fellow in a pub later. Some dago, I don't know his name. And he'd said something which made me think I could find out what I wanted at the Winter Garden. Well, after that I drove back to my tent. I was pretty worried about the car by then. The engine kept missing all the way.
Thursday's the day I want to know about.
Yes. All the details, as they say in the tech stories, eh? Well, on Thursday morning, I went down to the village and flagged a passing car. The Morgan being unreliable and so on. It was, let me see, just after 10 o'clock. Yes, that's right.
Whereabouts was this?
Where the main road enters Darley, the Wilvercombe side. It was a woman who stopped. Very decent sort. Drove a big red open Bentley.
You don't know her name, I suppose?
Never thought to ask. But I do remember the number of the car. It was a comic one. OI 0101. Oi, oi, oi.
Yes, that's a good one. Oi, oi, oi. So, you went to Wolvercombe?
Yes.
And what did you do there?
Well, the good lady put me down in the market square and asked me if I wanted to be taken back. So I said that was very kind of her, and when would she be leaving? She said she had to go just before 1 o'clock, so I said that would do me all right. Then I had a wander around and went down to the Winter Garden. The chap I talked to said that this girl of Alexis's had something to do with the Winter Garden, sung there or something.
She doesn't, as a matter of fact. Her present young man plays in the orchestra there.
Yes, I know that now. He got it all wrong. Anyway, I had the bad luck to run slap bang into my mother. She sat through the whole concert by herself. I kept out of sight and she didn't see me. I thought she might be meeting Alexis there. I can remember what they played, too. A thing called the Eroicus Symphony, such stuff.
Tut, tut, how wearisome.
I went back to the market square after the concert, and there was the woman with the red Bentley, and we went home. Oh, wait a minute. I bought some collars at a shop near the War Memorial before we left. I believe I've got the bill about me somewhere, if that's evidence. Yes, here we are. I've got one of the collars on now, if you'd like to have a look at it.
No, I believe you.
Good. Well, that's all. Except that the good lady dropped me off at the Feathers, where I had lunch.
What time was that?
Just on 1 o'clock. I remember hearing the church clock striking.
What time did you leave the Feathers?
About 1:45. I went and had another go at the car, but I couldn't get the slightest sign of a spark, so I went out and got a man from the local garage, and they traced the trouble to a fault in the HT lead and put it right.
What time did you go to the garage?
About 3 or half past.
Now, while you were in Hinks Lane, between 1:45 and 3 o'clock, did you happen to notice anybody or anything going along the shore?
No. No one. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, there was a chap. A little pipsqueak of a fellow in shorts. He came down Hinks Lane at 1:55 and asked me the time.
How very convenient.
Huh? Well, I didn't have much conversation with him. In fact, he wasn't keen for any after I'd booted him in the behind.
Great Scott, what for?
Nosy Parkering. I was struggling with the infernal car, and he stood about asking silly questions. I told him to clear out, standing there bleating, "Won't it start?" Blasted little idiot.
And he was the only person you saw?
Yes.
Well, I'm much obliged to you for being so frank. It's very lucky you've got so many witnesses to your alibi, ain't it?
What are you getting at?
Nothing. Nothing whatsoever. It all seems watertight. All very watertight indeed.
Well, Inspector, what news? We traced the driver of the car. Mrs. Morecambe lives in London, comes down here every summer and stays with Mr. Trevor. The vicar. Good friend of his, apparently. She told Sergeant Saunders that she picked up Weldon and took him to Wolvercombe and back, and at the times given by Weldon.
Have you asked at the Winter Gardens what the performance was last Thursday morning?
Oh, yes, my lord. We'd already thought of that, of course. The programme started at 10:30, and it included Beethoven's Eroica, right enough.
Was there a printed programme?
No, my lord, and what's more, the Eroica was substituted at the last moment for some other piece, owing to some difficulty about mislaid band parts. We've also checked with Alexis's landlady, Mrs. Lefranc, and she confirms that a gentleman in dark glasses did call on her on the Wednesday and try to get some information on Layla Garden, Alexis's old girlfriend. Mrs. Lefranc sent him packing with a flea in his ear.
Inspector, suppose there was a conspiracy between Weldon and some other person to kill Alexis, and the actual killing was done by the other person.
Other person?
Well, I mean, supposing, for example, Weldon and our friend Bright were both in it, and Bright was scheduled to do the dirty deed at 11 o'clock, for example, while Weldon established his own alibi. And suppose there was some hitch in the arrangements so that the murder didn't come off till 2. And suppose Weldon didn't know about that and was still sticking to the original timetable. Now, how about that?
That's a lot of supposing, my lord. Bright, or whoever he was, had had plenty of time to communicate with Weldon. He wouldn't be such a fool as not to let him know.
True.
Besides, we already know that Bright was working in a hairdressing saloon all that day. Cast iron alibi, my lord.
I know. That's why I suspect him. The only thing I can think of is that there is another accomplice, not Bright, who's in some place where he can't communicate with anyone. such as 6 foot of elm with brass handles.
Or how about a hospital?
Or, as you say, a hospital.
Well, we'll look into that, my lord.
Weldon knows something about that horse, Inspector. I swear he does.
Horse?
I'm inclined to suspect that I may have underestimated the speed of the bay mare. Tomorrow I may borrow the animal and make a test myself. Ride along the shore from Weldon's campsite to the Flatiron and see what time she makes.
You know something, my lord? I've been thinking. If there was any hanky-panky with that horse round about 2 o'clock at the Flatiron, Pollock and his precious grandson must have seen it. It's not a mite of use them saying they didn't. I always did think that pair was in it up to the eyes.
I've seen that all along, but how are you going to get it out of them? Shall I have a go at it, Dumpleton? That young fellow Jem, he doesn't look as surly as his grandpa. How about him? Think one might find him anywhere about this evening? How about the 3 Feathers?
If he's not out with his boat, you'd most likely find him there. Yes, that's worth a try.
All right, time, gentlemen, please. Let's have your glasses now. It's time to go home.
Excuse me, sir. The name's Pollock, Jem Pollock. See you, sir. I'd like to have a word with you about something.
By all means. You going home? Well, I can run you there in the car if you like. Won't take a minute.
Thank you, sir. I'd be glad of it. Good night, Harry. Night, Tom.
Good night, landlord.
See you tomorrow, Jem.
Now then, Jem, what do you want to tell me?
Well, sir, it's about that business at the Flatiron, sir. I told Grandad he'd better tell the police how it were, but he's that obstinate. That's why I thought I'd like to speak to you, sir. You see, Grandad, well, he left a bad impression. The way he wouldn't let on what he was doing off the grinders.
What was it you were doing at the grinders?
Taking lobsters, sir.
Taking lobsters? What's the harm in that?
Well, none, sir. Only you see, they weren't ours. They was Tom Gurney's pots. You see, Tom Gurney, who lives in Darley, he upset Grandad something bad. Some of Grandad's nets was broke, see, and he thought Tom Gurney were to blame. But Tom Gurney, he says, weren't nothing to do with him, and he wouldn't pay Grandad a penny.
I see. So old Pollock, unable to obtain satisfaction by constitutional means, adopted a simple method of private revenge,
Yeah, that's it, sir.
As simple as that?
Yes, sir.
Now, Jem, on the afternoon that Paul Alexis died, do you know if any of your family, by any chance, heard the sound of a horse on the beach?
Oh, no, sir. No, I'm certain sure of that. The police was here asking of the same question. And Mother tells them no sign of a horse. Not in the afternoon, no.
Someone heard a horse earlier in the day?
Oh, yes. Young Susie half called to mind as she did hear something like a horse trampling round about dinner time. Happen it might be 12 o'clock. But being at her work, she didn't run out to look.
12 o'clock?
Thereabouts, sir. It come back to her all of a sudden when we was talking over what them police were asking about.
Well, thank you, Jem. I'm extremely grateful to you. Is this all right for you?
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you.
Good night, Jem.
Good night, sir.
Good morning, my lord.
Good morning, Inspector. I bring you news of the bay mare.
Oh, yes, my lord.
Yes, the mare was at the Flatiron, and she saw the murder done.
But didn't we decide that was impossible?
So it is. But it is nevertheless true. I rode her along the beach early this morning. It proved, as you so rightly point out, impossible to reach the Flatiron from Weldon's campsite in time for him to do the murder. But the mare saw the murder done. I am convinced of it. I couldn't get her near the Flatiron. She almost threw me when I tried. I am certain that that horse was witness to the spilling of blood at that spot.
I wish I'd never come up against this qualified case. Now, you say that the mare was there at 2 o'clock, and that...
No, not at 2 o'clock, at 12 o'clock. One of the Pollocks heard a horse go past at that time.
But we know the murder was committed at 2 o'clock, not 12. Are you going to say next that the mare cut Alexis's throat with her own shoe and then turned herself into a seahorse? It doesn't make no sense, my lord.
Quite. I am feeling a bit depressed, Inspector. I seem to have fallen down a bit over this case.
It's a nuisance. And what's more, Bright has skipped.
I thought you had somebody keeping an eye on him.
Oh, so we did. Bright's taken a train to London. We've alerted Scotland Yard, and with a bit of luck, they'll pick up the trail in London. However, it's not all bad news. The fact is, we've found Perkins.
Ah, tell me more.
It's clear now why we were unable to pull him in sooner. He's in hospital. Left from Wilvercombe Station, as we thought. Took a train to Seahampton and resumed his walking tour. About 20 miles out, he was knocked down by a motor lorry. As a result, lay speechless and senseless for nearly a week in the local hospital. There was nothing in his travelling pack to indicate his identity, and it was only when he began to sit up and take notice that they learned his name was Perkins. Then one of the nurses called to mind that there'd been a broadcast inquiry for somebody called Perkins. Result, I received a phone call this morning, and I'm on my way to interview Perkins now.
I see. I don't suppose, Inspector, there's any possibility that...
I knew you'd want to be in on this, my lord. Yeah, it's a bit delicate, of course. Medical men aren't keen on letting their patients be interrogated by crowds of visitors. But I spoke to the sister on the phone, and she's agreed to let us have a brief interview.
Splendid. My car's outside. Shall I run you over to Seahampton?
Well, that's very kind, my lord. Safe waiting for the next train, won't it?
I really hope you gentlemen won't be much longer. Mr. Perkins is still recovering from his injuries, you know.
Of course, sister, of course. Just a few minutes.
5 minutes. I'll let you have 5 minutes more, and that's all. Is that clear?
Yes, thank you, sister. Now, so at that point, you abandoned your trip and walked back to Darley with Miss Vane. Now, why exactly did you do that, Mr. Perkins?
I wanted to do my best to help the young lady.
Very chivalrous. As a matter of fact, of course, you couldn't help very much.
Well, no, that's true. I didn't like to go along that road, and that's the truth. I was afraid the murderer might be lurking somewhere.
Murderer, eh? What made you think it was a case of murder?
Well, the young lady said it might be. I'm not a very courageous person, I'm afraid, and I'm not physically strong. I didn't like the idea at all.
And when you got to Darley, you felt that the young lady was in good hands and needed no further protection. So you went away without saying goodbye.
Yes, I didn't want to be mixed up in anything, you know. In my position, it isn't nice. A teacher has to be careful.
Now, whereabouts might you have been around 2 o'clock that day, sir?
But I was at Darley at 2 o'clock. And I can prove it. I know it was 2 o'clock because I asked a man there the time.
Did you indeed, sir? That was very fortunate. We ought to be able to substantiate that.
Oh, yes. You'd find him easily enough. It wasn't in the village itself. It was outside. It was a gentleman that was camping in a tent. At least I call him a gentleman, but he didn't behave like one. He was a big man with dark hair and coloured spectacles. I asked him what time it was. He told me it was 5 minutes to 2. I set my watch and thanked him.
And then?
Well, then I just politely inquired as to whether he was having any trouble with his car. I can't think why he should have taken offence, but he did. I expostulated with him, and then he called me a very vulgar name, and...
Well?
Well, I am sorry to say that he then... Well, he kicked me on my... That is to say, from behind.
Did he indeed?
Yes. Of course, I did not retaliate, but I went down onto the beach and stopped for lunch for, about 50 yards from him where he could see me. I wished to let the man see that he could not intimidate me. I stayed there for 3/4 of an hour or so.
And who passed you on the beach during that time?
Who passed me? Why, nobody.
No man, woman, or child? No boat? No horse? Nothing?
Nothing whatever. The beach was quite deserted. Even the unpleasant man took himself off in the end. Just before I left myself, that would be. I kept my eye on him just to see that he didn't try any more tricks, you know.
Now, look here, Perkins. This is a case of murder. We know that somebody passed along that beach between 2 o'clock and 3. Wouldn't it be better to tell the truth?
Oh, well, I can't...
Time's up, Inspector. Oh, Inspector, you promised me you wouldn't upset the patient.
I'm feeling very weak, sister.
I'm sorry. I'm afraid you gentlemen will have to leave now. Thank you. This way. Come along, please. I don't believe a word of any of those theories about the murderer getting to the Flatiron and back in the time available.
Don't you, Harriet? Why ever not?
Feminine intuition, eh?
It's not intuition. There's no such thing. It's common sense. It's artistic sense, if you like. All those theories, they're all wrong. They're artificial. They smell of the lamp.
Well, that's beyond me, that is.
And I dare say it's all a bit complicated, but if we don't make up a case against Weldon, or Bright, or Perkins, or any two of them, who are we to make a case against? Against Bolshes? Mind you, we've checked out Perkins, and in fact he is a member of the Soviet Club and is reported to have communist sympathies. Funny, ain't it? It's always these mild, weak, timid-looking people who yearn for revolution and bloodshed. Anyhow, if Perkins is in it, then Weldon must be, because of their mutual alibi.
Yes, I know, but your whole case is like that. First you want Weldon to be guilty because of getting his mother's money, so you say that Perkins must be his accomplice because he's giving an alibi for Weldon. Now you want Perkins to be guilty because he's a communist, and so you say Weldon must be the accomplice because he's giving an alibi for Perkins. But it's simply impossible that both these theories should be true. And as for Bright, you've nothing to connect him with either of them.
The question is whether Perkins is supplying the alibi for Weldon, or Weldon is providing the alibi for Perkins.
You will insist on it being Perkins. You really think Perkins rode a horse barebacked along the beach and cut a man's throat to the bone with a razor?
Why not?
What, does he look like it? I can't see Perkins in the role of a desperado. Why, Inspector, your original case against me was a better one.
Yes, miss. It had a lot to be said for it, that had.
Of course. Why did you give it up, by the way?
Well, it seemed a bit too obvious. And besides, we couldn't trace any connection between you and the deceased.
It was wise of you to make inquiries, because, of course, you only had my word for everything, hadn't you? And those photographs were evidence that I was pretty cold-blooded. And my previous history was rather, shall we say, full of incident.
Just so, miss. Look, what I want to know is this. How did the murderers, whoever they were, get Alexis out to the Flatiron? Or, if it was Bolsheviks that got him there, how did Weldon and co. know he was going to be there? It must be the same party that made the appointment and did the throat-cutting. Which brings us to the point that either Weldon's party wrote the letter, or the foreign party did the murder.
True, O King?
As far as I can see, we've no case against Weldon and no case against Bright, and the case against Perkins is as full of holes as a colander.
Life is dust and ashes. I can't prove my theories, and the Bellevue has lost one of my socks in the wash. Miss Vane, Harriet, if I may call you so, will you marry me and look after my socks, and incidentally be the only woman novelist who ever accepted a proposal of marriage in the presence of an inspector of police?
Not even for the sake of the headlines?
I thought not. Even publicity isn't what it was. See here, Inspector, will you take a bet that Alexis didn't commit suicide, and that he wasn't murdered by Bolsheviks?
Oh, I'm not really a sporting man, my lord.
Crushed again. All the same, I'll break those alibis. I'll break 'em if I die for it.
In that episode of Have His Carcase, the parts were played as follows. Lord Peter Wimsey, Ian Carmichael. Harriet Vane, Maria Aitken. Inspector Umplety, Nigel Stock. Henry Weldon, Warren Clark. Julian Perkins, Richard O'Callaghan. Jem Pollock, Hayden Wood. Nurse, Judy Franklin. Narrator, John Westbrook. Have His Carcase was adapted by Alistair Beaton from the book by Dorothy L. Sayers and was produced by Martin Fisher.
We present Ian Carmichael as Lord Peter Wimsey in Have His Carcase by Dorothy L. Sayers, adapted for radio by Alistair Beaton. with Maria Aitken as Harriet Vane and Nigel Stock as Inspector Umplety. Episode 6. All a Question of Time.
Harriet Vane found herself comfortable in the quarters of the late Paul Alexis. When she ought to have been writing, Harriet would sit in an armchair reading a volume taken from Paul Alexis's bookshelf, with the idea of freeing the subconscious for the job of creating a new book. In this way, she imbibed a remarkable amount of miscellaneous information about the Russian imperial court. All this, of course, was a pure escape from the problem of explaining who killed Paul Alexis and why. Indeed, at this stage, Harriet merely seemed content to pour scorn on the elaborate theories put forward by Lord Peter and Inspector Umplety. All efforts to break the alibi given by Henry Weldon, the chief suspect, had so far proved unsuccessful, and the police had even lost track of William Bright, who was a vital link in the chain of events leading to Alexis's death. One thing alone seemed clear, that there was some connection between the murder and the coded letters that Alexis had been receiving from abroad shortly before he died. Just as Lord Peter began to despair of ever finding a solution to the mystery, there came a development which had been long awaited.
Ah, Inspector! I came over right away when I heard the news. Where was the body found?
It was wedged in a deep crevice at the far end of the grinders. We had to bring it up by dredging tackle and diving. Tricky job. Not out any by a cash belt containing £300 in gold.
Aha, what did I tell you? Anything in the pockets?
Yes, my lord. Here's what we found. One British passport, recently visaed for France. Then there was this leather note case in the breast pocket. It seems to have protected the contents from the sea pretty well. A few currency notes, some stamps, the return half of a ticket from Wolvercombe to Darley-Holt, dated Thursday, 18th of June. And this. Careful, my lord. It's still not dried out fully.
Looks like a letter in cipher. And well preserved enough to be legible.
Doesn't make any sense to me, my lord, but if you think you can make sense on it...
Miss Vane and I shall immediately put our great brains to the business of deciphering it. Should you need me, Inspector, you will find me at Miss Vane's lodgings. Toodaloo.
Now, here's a problem to start with. What is in the letter, and why wasn't it burnt with the rest?
Yes, that is rather odd.
Very. This letter came on the Tuesday morning. On the Wednesday, bills were settled up, and on the Wednesday night, papers were burnt. On Thursday morning, Alexis set out to catch his train to Darley-Holt. Is it too much to suppose that the instructions to do this were in the letter?
It looks likely. Well, we've got some idea of what must have been in the letter, and that'll be a great help with the decoding. We've also got an idea that the villain may have been a bit of an amateur, and that's borne out by the letter itself.
How?
Well, there are 2 lines here at the top of 6 letters apiece. Now, nobody but an amateur would present us with 6 isolated letters, let alone 2 sets of 6. He'd run the whole show together. Well, I suggest that these words represent an address, or more probably an address and a date. They're in the right place for it. I don't mean a whole address, of course, just the name of a town, say Berlin or London, and the date below it.
That's possible.
Well, we can but try. Now, we don't know much about the town, except the letters are said to have come from Czechoslovakia. But we might get the date.
How would that be written?
Well, let's see. The letters R, B, E, X, M, G may just represent the figures of the day, month, and year. If they don't stand for numbers, then I suggest they may stand for June something teen in longhand. Now, let's see what date the letters may represent. Let's try this group first. Let's say that R represents... Well, let's think. Right, now we've got the date. The rest should be somewhat easier.
Could that be M?
Well, let's try it.
Don't joggle.
No, I must joggle. By Jove, you're right, Harriet. You're right. We're getting the key word, and with that we can crack the whole thing. Now then, let's have a look. M for mother. And O, N.
Yeah, we know N.
We do, yes.
A. R,
yeah.
R.
A, R, C, and an H. No, wait a jiffy, there's another letter here. Y. Monarchy! Monarchy, of course, 3 loud cheers.
Oh, Peter, how marvellous. Let's do a dance or something.
Nonsense, let's get on with the job. None of your frivoling now, down to the text.
All right. T.
Mm-hmm.
O.
Indeed.
H.
Yes.
I. To His Serene. Can that be right?
Well, it's English. Look, hurry up, let's get those letters in there.
To His Serene. Highness! Peter, what is all this about?
My God, can it be? Have we been wrong and the preposterous Mrs. Weldon been right? Shall I be reduced at my time of life to hunting down a Bolshevik gang? Read on, Harriet, read on.
Well, we've cracked it, but what on earth it means? Alexis always did say he was of noble birth, didn't he?
He did, and apparently found someone to believe him. Read it, Harriet, read it through.
To His Serene Highness, Grand Duke Pavel Alexeyevich, heir to the throne of the Romanovs. Papers entrusted to us by your Highness now thoroughly examined, and marriage of your illustrious ancestress to Tsar Nicholas I proved beyond doubt. All is in readiness. Your people, groaning under oppression of brutal Soviets, eagerly welcome return of imperial rule to Holy Russia. Treaty with Poland happily concluded. Money and arms at your disposal. Your presence alone needed. Spies at work, use caution. Burn all papers, all clues to identity. On Thursday, 18th of June, take train reaching Darley Halt 10:15, walk by Coast Road to Flatiron Rock. There await rider from the sea who brings instructions for your journey to Warsaw. The word is Empire. Bring this paper with you. Silent, secrecy imperative, Boris.
Well, one thing seems certain. Every theory I've so far formed about this case has been utterly and madly wide of the mark. Pavel Alexeyevich, heir to the throne of the Romanovs.
It's all very confusing. We've now got 2 unknown people to look for instead of 1. The rider from the sea who stole the mare and was at the Flatiron about midday, and the murderer who was there at 2 o'clock.
Yes. Well, that seems to hang together reasonably well.
But it means we have to look for a quite new murderer, who had the opportunity of knowing about the appointment between Boris and Alexis. And it needn't be a Bolshevik. It might be somebody with a private motive for doing away with Alexis. How about the De Soto gentleman who took up with Layla Garland after she dropped Paul Alexis? Layla may have told De Soto some nasty story about Alexis.
True. Only we happen to know that De Soto was playing at the Winter Gardens all that time. But now I want to look at the thing from a quite different point of view. What about this coded letter? Is it genuine? If it really comes from a foreign gentleman of the name of Boris, why is it written in English? Then again, all that opening stuff about brutal Soviets and Holy Russia is so vague and sketchy. It doesn't ring true, Harriet. It doesn't look like business. It looks like somebody with a very sketchy idea of the way revolutions really work, trying to flatter that poor boob's monomania about his birth.
In fact, you think the letter looks like a trap?
Yes, but it's difficult to be sure. And even then, who sent it and why? Well, I shall hand the decoded letter over to Umplety. That'll give him something to think about. I like to see other people doing a spot of work from time to time. I say, Harriet.
Yes?
What would you say was the most convenient part of Henry Weldon's alibi?
I don't know. Well, I suppose it was rather convenient that his car should break down.
Precisely. My very thoughts. If the inspector should telephone, kindly tell him I've gone over to talk to Paul Whistle at the garage and that I shall be at the station directly. Cheerio.
Why, yes, my lord. It was a fairly straightforward job. The fault was in the HT leads, all right. We tried the mag, and she was working top hole, and there wasn't nothing wrong with the plug, so after we fiddled about a bit more, young Tom says, "Here, I'll get him over for you. Tom? Come over here for a moment."
Afternoon, my lord.
Afternoon, Tom.
That Morgan that we was fixing up a couple of weeks back, fault were in the HT leads, weren't it?
Ah, that's right. I says to this Mr. Martin, how about the HT leads? And Mr. Martin, he says, that's an idea. And before I could say knife, he whips the leads out with a clip and gets them off.
So you replaced them?
Well, sir, I were going to take a look at them. Never mind looking at the blasted things, he says. You can't do no bloody good by looking at them, he says. Shove in a new pair and look smart.
So you did?
Yes, my lord.
Did you actually examine the leads afterwards?
Oh, now you ask me, I don't rightly know what happened to them leads.
Ah, but I know. When Mr. Martin went to start up the engine, he pushed them leads into his pocket, careless-like. And when he pulled out his handkerchief to wipe the oil off his fingers, them leads fall out on the grass. And I picks them up, being a tidy-minded man, and drops them in my tool bag, thinking as how they might come in useful.
I'd like to have a look at them.
Nothing easier. Let's have a look now. And here they do be, which just shows what it is to be a tidy-minded man.
Thank you. Yes, they seem to be fused together just where they pass under the clip. Nothing wrong with the insulation there, apparently. Hello. Here's your trouble. Looks like the business end of a sewing needle. Give us a sharp knife and we'll soon see. There you are. Now, have a look at that.
Well, there now. To think of that.
The needles obviously have been passed through the lead and then broken off short so as to leave no visible trace of its presence. When the two leads are in place side by side, the needle passes through both, bridges the circuit and shorts the spark.
Oh, this beats me, this does.
I've seen it done before. It's a very handy way of holding up a motorcyclist at the beginning of a race, for example. Look here, you two. Don't say a word about this to anyone.
Well, we did surely ought to find out who it was that was monkeying about with a gentleman's car.
No, I'll take the thing up myself if necessary.
Very well, sir.
And, thank you so much for your help.
Oh, thank you, my lord.
I have to admit it, my lord. This decoded letter of yours puts a new complexion on things, and no mistake.
Don't it?
And so does the news from Scotland Yard.
Yes?
They've tracked down Bright to a house in London.
Excellent.
Where he's living under the name of Morecambe.
Morecambe? Great Scott, the name of the woman who gave Weldon his lift into Wilvercombe. The lady who provided Weldon with his alibi.
Yes. It appears that Bright is, in fact, Morecambe, husband of the same lady. And what's more, we've got information to the effect that Morecambe visited Weldon on his farm last February, which pretty well clinches it. Morecambe and Weldon are in cahoots together.
Excuse me, Inspector, my lord. Miss Vane's here.
And thank you, Saunders. Send her in.
Yes, sir. This way, miss.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Aha! I think I see a gleam in Miss Vane's eye that suggests she is about to put one over on us. Speak, tell us all.
Henry Weldon was not doing anything nefarious in Wilvercombe on Thursday the 18th. I went to the men's outfitting where Weldon said he got his collars. He didn't. Mrs. Morecambe got them for him. The assistant had taken the parcel out to the car, which was empty. I then went to the Winter Gardens and discovered that Mrs. Morecambe was at that concert. I found an attendant who remembered her by her appearance and get-up. And she was taking notes.
Of the programme. For Weldon, of course.
After that, I tried the bobby on point duty in the market square. Such a nice, intelligent bobby. He remembered the car because of the funny number plate. And he noticed that there was no one in it except the lady driving. Henry Weldon wasn't in Wilvercombe that day.
No, and it's pretty clear now where he was. He was riding that damn mare along the beach. Out at 11 o'clock and back at 12:30 or thereabouts.
That's clear, too. He was the rider from the sea, but he still didn't kill Paul Alexis, because the murder was done at 2 o'clock. And we know no one passed along that beach near 2 o'clock. You realise, Inspector, that the longer we leave Morecambe to himself, the more time he's got to make away with the evidence.
What evidence?
Well, if Alexis replied to all those coded letters that Morecambe was sending him, it's possible that Morecambe still has Alexis's letters in his possession.
Maybe you're right, my lord, and we ought to pull him in. Only, you'll bear in mind that if we do detain him, we'll have to make a charge. There's such a thing as habeas corpus.
All the same, I think you'll have to risk that. As for me, I'll have to do something drastic to restore my self-respect. Seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth.
Oh, yeah? When Lord Peter gets these fits of quotations, he's usually on to something.
Says you. I'm going straight away to make love to Layla Garland.
Well, watch out for De Soto.
I'll chance De Soto. I shall appear in my famous impersonation of a lounge lizard. Imitation très difficile. I'll see you later. Cheerio.
Well, of course, Mr. Alexis was a dear boy and always a perfect gentleman, but hardly a manly man. I do think, don't you, Lord Peter, that it is much finer to be a noble-born person who really does things than a noble-born person who only talks nobility.
But was Alexis nobly born, Miss Garland?
Well, Lord Peter, he said he was, but how's a girl to know? Here you are, I said, not earning half as much money as some people I could name, and what good does it do you? Even if you're the Tsar of Russia, I said.
Did he say he was the Tsar of Russia?
Oh, no. He only said that if his great-great-grandmother had married somebody or other, he might have been somebody important.
Who did he think his great-great-grandmother was, then?
I'm sure I don't know. Oh, he did go on. He wrote it all down for me one day, but I said to him, "You make my head ache," I said. And besides, from what you say, none of your people were any better than they should have been.
He seems to have given more thought to the thing than it was worth. Wrote it all down, did he?
Yes, he did. And then one day he came bothering me about it again. Wanted it back. "If you want things kept," I said, "why don't you give them to that old woman who's so stuck on you?" And he said he particularly didn't want the paper kept. He wanted it burnt. He told me he didn't want me to talk to anybody about his great-great-grandmother and all that stuff. Silly, I call it.
And did you burn the paper?
Well, I'm sure I don't know. You're nearly as bad as he was going on about that piece of paper. What does the stupid paper matter, anyhow?
Well, I'm inquisitive about papers. Still, if you've burnt it, you burnt it. It's a pity. If you could have found that paper, it might be worth...
Yes?
It might be worth having a look at. Perhaps if you had a hunt among your odds and ends, you know...
I can't see what you want that old bit of paper for.
Nor do I, until I see it. But we might have a shot at looking for it, eh, what? There it is, Harriet. The precious piece of paper. Alexis's family tree, so called. Obtained at great cost to my patience and dignity, I may add.
Good Lord. But it's simply silly, Peter. Even if Alexis's great-great-grandmother had been married to Nicholas I 50 times over, he wouldn't have been heir to the throne. Why, there are heaps and heaps of people nearer than he was. This little family tree of his is just a nonsense, that's all.
Well, of course. But you can always persuade people into believing what they want to, you know.
Anyhow, it's perfectly clear now how the trap was baited. If only we could get hold of the letter that Alexis sent to Boris.
Well, Umpelty's taking care of Boris. That is to say, Morecambe. There's a warrant out for his arrest. But I fear he'll have destroyed those letters by now, as sure as eggs is eggs.
You'll allow it's a bit awkward, my lord, fetching people up and charging them with being accomplices to murder, which we can't even prove is a murder. We got to come up with something quick.
I freely admit, Inspector, that it's the queerest case I ever struck. We've got evidence of an elaborate conspiracy to do something or other, and we've got a corpse which looks like the victim of a conspiracy to murder. But when we come to put the two together, they don't fit.
Suppose, for instance, that Paul Alexis is really...
the Emperor of Japan.
Well, that might not be so far off. He thought he was an emperor, or next door to it anyhow. Though even if he had 50 pints of imperial blood in his veins instead of only 2 or 3, it wouldn't help to explain why...
Wait a minute. Say that again.
Well, the real difficulty
The real difficulty is the time of the death, ain't it?
Well, yes, I suppose it is.
Well, of course it is. If it wasn't for that, we could explain everything. You know, I always thought it was funny if Henry Weldon did the murder, that he didn't seem to know at what time he did it. Look, let's pretend we've planned this murder for ourselves and have timed it for 12 o'clock.
What's the good of that, my lord? We know it wasn't actually done till 2 o'clock.
Ah, but I want to look at the original murder as it was planned. Do you mind? I want to. It's February. You are Henry Weldon. You've just heard that your elderly and foolish mother is going to marry a dancing dago, 35 years younger than herself, and disinherit you. You are badly in need of money, and you want to stop this at all costs. You make yourself unpleasant, but you find it's no good. You'll only lose all the money instead of part of it. You're not an inventive man yourself, so you consult Morecambe.
So Weldon and Morecambe work out the plot about the coded letters?
Yes. Obviously, Mrs. Morecambe was the source of information about the topography and fauna of Wolvercombe and Darley. Weldon was chosen to do the throat-cutting and horse-riding part of it, which needed brawn only, while Morecambe buzzed about dispatching letters via someone in Czechoslovakia and working Alexis up to the top notch of excitement. Then, when everything is about ready, Morecambe goes off to take up his role of travelling hairdresser and calls himself William Bright, so as to avoid any danger of the purchase of the razor being traced back to him.
I see. Well, go on.
Now for Weldon. He had his character of Haviland Martin all ready to slip into. He hired a Morgan and went to camp at Darley near the field with the bay mare. On Thursday, Alexis goes off to the Flatiron in search of an imperial crown. Meanwhile, Henry Weldon has run a needle through the H.T. leads of the Morgan so as to provide a very good reason for asking for a lift into Wilvercombe.
But he didn't go into Wilvercombe.
No. Mrs. Morecambe puts Weldon down out of sight of the village and the passing throng at some point where he can cut across the fields to the shore again. He goes into the field where the mare is, carrying a bridle rope, which he later burns, or tries to burn. He also makes a gap in the hedge to explain why the mare should later be found running loose.
Then he rides along the beach and cuts Alexis's throat for him.
Correct. Alexis is sitting on the rock dreaming of the imperial purple, and then there comes the rider from the sea. He may or may not recognise Weldon, but by that time it's too late. Weldon has tied the mare to the ringbolt put there the day before. The mare goes frantic at the sight and smell of the blood.
Which is why she wouldn't approach the Flatiron when you tried later.
You can't put horses in the witness box. I don't want to waste any more time on this. I only wish I'd never touched the bleeding case.
But you are so hasty, Inspector. I admit the plan went wrong. But I never said they didn't carry it out.
Well, my lord, whatever they did, they didn't murder Alexis at 2 o'clock because they weren't there to do it. And they didn't murder him at 12 o'clock because he didn't die till 2. Now, those are facts, aren't they?
No.
No?
No.
You mean one or other of them was there at 2 o'clock?
No.
You mean they did murder Alexis at 12 o'clock?
Yes.
Well, by cutting his throat?
Yes.
Right through?
Right through.
Then how is it he didn't die till 2 o'clock?
We have no evidence at all as to the time Alexis did die.
Well, I'll be...
Something you said about blood, Harriet. Look, let's recall a few things we know about the supposed heir to the throne of the Romanovs. He is known to have been very ill as a child through being knocked down in the playground. At the age of 21, he wore a beard and had never used a razor. He was extraordinarily timid about using sharp weapons or visiting the dentist. On Thursday the 18th, when scrambling over rocks, he wore gloves. Periodic pains in his joints caused him suffering. He used antiprine to relieve this condition. And finally, one may inherit other things besides imperial crowns.
Of course. I thought your style was a little laboured in places, but as an impromptu effort, it's creditable.
What is all this?
Oh, don't tease him, Peter.
You will have your fun, my lord.
Hemophilia.
Hemophilia? What in the name of blazes is that when it's at home?
It's a condition of the blood, due to lack of, something or other. And so far as is known, it is incurable.
Oh, what is it? And why do you think Alexis had it? And what does it matter if he did?
It's a condition in which the blood doesn't clot properly. If you get even a tiny scratch, you may bleed to death from it. And if you get a fall or a blow, you have internal bleeding, which comes out in great lumps and swellings and is horribly painful and gives you a hell of a fever. Hence, if I remember rightly, the antiprine.
The Tsarevich had it, of course. I read about it in those books of Alexis. But like a fool, I never thought about it in connection with the murder.
Oh, I don't know that I see it now. Except that it explains why Alexis was such a namby-pamby. Do you mean that it proves Alexis really was royalty of sorts?
It may or may not prove any of that. But don't you see, my dear old goat, that it completely busts up and spifflicates the medical evidence? We timed the death for 2 o'clock because the blood hadn't clotted. But if Alexis was a haemophiliac, you might wait till kingdom come and his blood would never clot at all. Therefore, he may have died at noon, or dawn, for all we know.
But here's a snag. If he might have died any time, how are we to prove he died at 12 o'clock?
Easy. First of all, we know it must have been then, because that's the time for which these people have an alibi. As Sherlock Holmes says somewhere, only a man with a criminal enterprise desires to establish an alibi. I must say this case is really unique in one thing. It's the only one I have ever known in which a murderer didn't know the time at which he was supposed to have done the murder.
It's funny the way all this worked out for Weldon and Co. They had such good luck in one way and such bad luck in another. I mean, first of all, they had an alibi and a disguise. And then all my unnecessary cleverness and observation gave them a far better alibi for a totally different time, which was good luck. Then, when to their horror their original alibi turned out to be useless and dangerous, along comes poor little Perkins the hiker, who of course was as innocent as any sucking pig, and gives them a cast-iron alibi for the wrong time. It's so complicated, I don't really know whether my being here helped or hindered.
It's so complicated that I'm not certain we'll get any jury to believe it. See here, my lord, if we do prosecute, do you really think we've a hope in Hades?
I'll tell you this, Inspector. Last night, Mrs. Weldon consented to dance with Monsieur Antoine, and Henry didn't like it at all. If you let Henry Weldon and Morecambe loose again, what premium would you take on those two lives, Antoine's and Mrs. Weldon's?
I dare say you're right. Well, there's nothing else for it. I shall have to go to the Chief Constable and win him over to our way of seeing things. And that's not going to be easy, my lord.
Well, isn't that a damned awful, bitter, bloody farce, hmm? The old fool who wanted a lover and the young fool who wanted an empire. One throat cut and 3 people hanged. And £130,000 going begging for the next man who likes to sell his body and soul for it. God, what a jape. King Death has ass his ears with a vengeance. Let's clear out of this, Harriet. Get your things packed and leave your address for the police and come up to town. I'm fed up to the back teeth.
Yes, let's go. I'm terrified of meeting Mrs. Weldon, and I don't want to see Antoine. It's all frightening and disgusting. We'll go home.
Righty-ho. We'll go home. We'll dine in Piccadilly. Damn it, I always did hate watering places.
In that final episode of Have His Carcase, the parts were played as follows. Lord Peter Wimsey, Ian Carmichael, Harriet Vane, Maria Aitken, Inspector Umplety, Nigel Stock, Layla Garland, Rosalind Ayres, Saunders, John Webb, Paul Whistle, Alan Dudley, Tom, Andrew Seacombe, and the narrator, John Westbrook. Have His Carcase was adapted by Alistair Beaton from the book by Dorothy L. Sayers and was produced by Martin Fisher.